Welcome back to the NetherKast. I am Cyborg, and I am joined, as always, by Temp, Razor, and Shad. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. It's been a minute.
Doing good.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Life is agony.
Well, so I'll kind of lay the groundwork here of what we're attempting to do, because this is a bit new format for us. Usually when we rank things or do our top 10s, we kind of just go round robin or snake around and kind of give each of our individual rankings of things, but we're going to mix it up a little bit here, mainly in the name of fun. I think when we went and ranked all the characters, or tier ranked them, I should say, I think that was one of the most fun things we did. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it led to some interesting discussions, interesting disagreements, and I find that is oftentimes when we are the most entertaining. And I think the people out there could use some entertainment these days. What do you guys think?
As I said, life is agony, and we need to entertain. We do. We need to take some of that load off. Make existence in this Anno Domini 2025 a bit more bearable for those who are gracious enough to tune into our nonsense.
I think for me, the funnest thing we ever did was our custom rosters, where we each made our own individual roster and defended it. That might be my favorite thing we've done on the show. And in terms of fun, at least. Yeah. That was good.
I still have a like a theoretical Marvel vs. Capcom roster sitting in a notepad file. I'm hoping we do that episode. Yeah, it's on the shelf. It's got a cobwebs coming off it now.
Speaking of which,
we got 4 characters, and I basically ran out of ideas.
That's got to be one we got to get Django on, which he was all on board for doing. So I think we'll get Smoke Man, we'll get Django down for if he really wants to. But yeah, we definitely got to return to that. I know that's something I don't know if we promised it, but we definitely laid out the bait for that, so we should probably follow through at some point.
I'm pretty sure we said we were going to continue it. We're going to do it.
But yes, it's on the list.
I'm ready. I've been ready.
All right, so let me...
It's going to be my time!
Let me explain exactly what we're doing. If anybody has, for all credit, not that they invented top 10 lists, but I'm a big fan of Maximilian Dudes, whatever, Video Games. I'm a big fan of how they do their top 10 lists. It's very argumentative, debating, all in good fun, but it leads to a lot of interesting discussion on them basically politicking with each other to try and narrow down their top 10 lists that they have to agree on or compromise or whatever. And in the spirit of when we were tier ranking all the characters, we kind of did a little bit of that. I remember Lee May being a controversial one. There was some disagreement there, or Goro, etc. So I feel like this could be a fun way to tackle the top 10 games of the series and beyond. So we figured we'd just go up to 20, as you see the list here, to kind of lay out some of the rules, requirements, whatever. We're not doing any of the handheld games. So things like Tournament Edition or Unchained or Mortal Kombat Advance, those will not be included. We kind of just molded those into their original games like Deadly Alliance or Deception. But on the flip side, kind of reverse logic, we are going to be ranking Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and Trilogy separately, as well as Mortal Kombat 4 and Mortal Kombat Gold separately. The logic being, I don't know what the logic is there. I mean, they're all they kind of have differences among them, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. It got us up to 20, so here we are. But we are doing Mortal Kombat Mobile and Mortal Kombat Onslaught, just because why not? So yeah, we're gonna dive into it. So kind of the ground rules here, for anybody unfamiliar with the format, is basically we'll start with one of us, and that person gets to nominate what they think should be number 20. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to number 1. So it's kind of like you got to survive through each round to see your favorite Mortal Kombat game make number 1. So you're going to have to put in some work if you want to see that game make it there. That being said, one person will start by nominating a game that they think should be number 20. The others can choose whether they agree or disagree. If It's a deadlock, 2v2. That's kind of the importance of why we're going to just limit it to the 4 of us for this. Because if we have 2v2, 2 people feel one way, 2 people feel the other way, then that person gets to select a different game. Basically, they're deadlocked on that one, so they have to move on to the next one. If it's 3 versus 1, so let's say I pick a game and all of the others disagree with me, then I lose my turn and it goes to the next person's turn to nominate a game. Basically, they take the driver's seat at that point. And we'll just kind of go down the list until, we hit number 1. But anyways, get the show on the road, because very much depending how this goes, how agreeable we all are or disagreeable, this could take anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 hours. We have no idea. So hopefully we can knock it all out in this, but we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes you got to put your foot down and drag your feet a little bit. Take a stand on things. As far as the versions you see above, that can be part of your arguments. I would assume we're taking the best version possible of each game, not the worst port of it or whatever. But you could always make that argument that overall this is maybe that's part of a negative aspect of the game if it had a really bad port or something. But we'll just kind of leave that up to how it all shakes out. So starting things off, just to kind of set the tone and establish how this all works, I'll go first, and then we'll just go from me to Razor to Shad to Tem, because that's how we're listed out in Discord here. So to make it simple to follow, I will choose a game that I think should be number 20. Out of all these games, I'm going to go Special Forces. And I don't really have much to present on it in terms of why, other than I think out of all the games, if you look at all of these games collectively, you look at all of them listed up there, I think that one brings back probably the most historically, I should say, maybe not modernly, because, time heals all wounds, and what's the most latest insult or wound that you might feel the worst. But ultimately, historically, Special Forces was seen as the worst Mortal Kombat game out there, and just a complete ripoff to anybody that paid for it. I might see some pushback because I know you guys recently played through it. So, Razor, yes or no for Special Forces at number 20?
I'm gonna agree with you. It's really hard to come up with any reason why it shouldn't be the worst. If I was gonna say anything in its defense at all, what I'd be talking about is the demo, which is not the game they made.
Yeah, that's very true. Good shout out on the demo. Okay, Shad. Well, we've got 2 yeses so far. Shad, do you want to try and stop this? Do you think there's something worse than Special Forces?
Yes, I do, Cyborg. Yes, I do. I do not place MK Special Forces as last on my list. It's down there. But when I think about it, when I reflect back on it, it is an absolutely terrible game. Don't get me wrong. It's a joke. But there are still things there that to me signify the kind of end of MK's original phase, and I have kind of fuzzy feelings about, I can listen to the soundtrack and I still hear Dan Forden working his magic, and you can hear some of the instrumentation he would go ahead to use on Deadly Alliance, for example. And the game gave us Tremor. That's something. Jax looks pretty cool. Sonya's got a nice haircut. It gave Jarek something to do.
Sonya's not actually visible anywhere in the finished product.
But she has concept art. That's part of the product.
Is it? I don't know if I would count that.
It's in there. It's something. It gave us
feels like cheating to me.
It gave us Tremor, Tazia, and No Face for what that's worth it to you. It is a terrible game, but I look at it and I still see that last phase of the first Mortal Kombat period, the end of the original era, so to speak.
Okay, so here's my question: when we vote no, is it also and here's what I do think should be the worst?
Yeah, you can absolutely counter by throwing out something that you legitimately. I would like suggest to people and ask people hold off what they think is the best to wait till later in the list. But if you think right now, since we're trying to determine the worst, if you have a counter worse, Absolutely, you can throw that out there.
I would like to hear, if you don't think Special Forces is the worst, then what the fuck is?
It's a very valid question.
Are you sure you want to hear this?
Go ahead.
Not to piss off a lot of people, but my answer is literally Mortal Kombat 12, MK1.
Okay, see, I can't, because that's my second worst.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I expected that. I knew that was going to be thrown out there fairly early.
I feel like
it was going to happen.
You can still play 12. It's not a great experience, but it can be done. I don't know if playing Special Forces can be done. Like, I know we did do it for the channel, and it still feels like something, I don't know, didn't we cheat at some point? What?
No, like we had to give Smokeman like infinite ammo or health.
Right, yes.
Or something. It was bad. It was awful. It's not a good game. I wish it was better.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from with Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 12, whatever. I knew it was going to come out early, but I still feel like if we're weighing out the pros and cons, and I absolutely understand all the cons, I don't expect it to make it very high on this list. But I have to push back on that because I do think there are some gems in Mortal Kombat 1. Some of the cameos bring back a little fuzzy feeling. The stages are phenomenal and the best the series have seen in several games, thankfully, as well as the music isn't so bad either. And the gameplay's pretty fun, whereas I'm not sure Special Forces is that fun other than just it's at least feels a little bit more Mortal Kombat-y, so therefore it doesn't bother you quite as much.
That goes a long way in my book. See, that's the thing. I'll sit here and I'll admit it right now, MK12 is an amazing like fighting game. It's great for that. If all you want is to just sit down and like fight someone, but there are other MK games I'd rather go to and do that for a wide variety of reasons. And that's the thing, is it just does not feel very much like Mortal Kombat to me. It's not
I can
for
understand
me,
that.
And that's okay.
Absolutely.
I just don't care for it, and there's a part of me that hates it because of the things it makes me feel.
Okay,
and that's okay too.
Yeah, just playing this fully out. I'm glad you were able to give your reasoning on the no. Temp, we've got 2 yeses and a no. You can tie it and deadlock it, and we move on to something else, to whatever Razor wants to nominate, or you can confirm it right now. What do you feel?
It really comes down to 2 things. Because there's a lot of bad games we can put in the spot, but it comes down to which one would I rather play for 2 hours. So I want to give a very soft yes to Special Forces and put that at number 20, because like I find a lot more. There's so many more MK games I find way more offensive than Special Forces. Way more, significantly more. But if I had a choice between playing 2 hours of Special Forces and 2 hours of Onslaught, I'm easily going Onslaught. I'm going to be at the Nissan dealership, just pressing my phone, tapping away. I don't give a fuck, right? And my day continues. If I actually had to play Special Forces, that sounds fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And I think you can honestly... This is like the anti-offensive Mortal Kombat, but I think Mythologies is actually like a contender for this category. If you said, Temp, you had to play Mythologies for 3 hours, I would cry. I'd be crying like a bitch. So, yeah, I'll say yes. I'm okay. But just pure transparency, I have never played Special Forces in my life. So, take this vote with what you will. But I'm happy. Like, if you're going by potential, Special Forces should have been a way better game, and it wasn't. So that's another huge mark against it. So yeah, I'll say yes.
All right, that just so we're clear, that confirms it at 20. My turn is done. Razor is next. He gets to choose the nomination for number 19. So I will exit
my
out.
Nomination for 19. I already kind of said it. Okay, 12.
I am hoist on my own petard.
And so here's. In order to explain why I would put 12 here, I kind of have to explain why I'm not putting certain other games here. And the main one is like Onslaught. Onslaught is really fucking bad. Like, on our Discord, I did a deep dive into the story and how infuriatingly nonsensical it is. And the gameplay of Onslaught it plays itself. It's like a turn-based RPG where you pick the characters and you can choose to like set it to a mode where you actually play the game, but the default mode is auto. It plays itself. And apparently this is some semi common, I don't want to say popular, but common genre for mobile games, and I don't get that. But here's the thing about Onslaught. In spite of the fact that it's not really a game, and it's not fun, and the story is this weird, confusing mashup of elements from MK 2, 3, 4 and Deadly Alliance all happening at the same time. It still has Hanzo Hazashi as Scorpion. It has Raiden as a Thunder God, Liu Kang is a Shaolin monk. There has been a Mortal Kombat tournament. Shao Kahn is the Emperor of Outworld. Like, it's Cyber Smoke is in there. It's basically Dom's really bad take on the old timeline, but it is old timeline versions of the characters. Like, it's the Mortal Kombat universe. And MK12's problem is that I don't consider it a Mortal Kombat game. It's unrecognizable. Like, I don't care how fun as a fighting game it might be, and how the FGC might feel about it, and how it's doing at EVO, because I'm not gonna play it. It's not Mortal Kombat. They should have called it Dragon Attack.
You can't see it, but I'm making the Shang Tsung applause animation from MK1 right now.
I just, if you're gonna reboot that much, call it something different.
So to be clear,
reboot the name too.
Because you did talk Onslaught for a little bit there. Your nomination.
My nomination is MK12.
1. Okay.
Yeah.
Shad?
I don't like calling it MK1.
It's
MK1
fine.
came out in 1992.
I'm not here to twist your arm about that. I don't care either way.
My man.
I could understand either.
We know what we mean.
Sure. So Shad, I can only assume your answer is yes, but just to be keep it on the up and up.
Yes, it is the devil.
All right, so that's 2 yeses for Mortal Kombat 1/12. Because it's 1/12 of a game.
Jokes.
But Temp, where are you at on this? Do you want it to confirm it at number 19? Personally, I think there's worse, but I'm not going to fight this that hard because I'm only going to fight it for another 1 or 2 spaces, right? So, like, it's up to you, but it's your vote. I will say you can play Mortal Kombat 1. Onslaught, you just watch, right?
I mean,
but it is more Mortal Kombat. You're not wrong there. It's tough.
Most of my experience with Mortal Kombat 1 has been just watching, like just YouTube shit. I'm not gonna. That thing won't even fit on my computer anymore. It's 200 gigs.
It's not even a goddamn crypt. It's all shrine nonsense now.
I literally couldn't play 12 if I wanted to. It will not fit on my PC.
There's nothing in there. Nothing in there.
If it did, it may not even run.
Data.
It's 200 gigs of nothing. It's empty calories.
It's bucket oh nothing. A little reboot reference for you there.
You guys remember that time that Havoc got all 6 Infinity Stones and shoved them in his chest and still lost a fight against regular ass Noob Saibot? You guys remember that?
No, because I never watched that mode.
Yeah.
I'm never going to watch Chaos Reigns. Or...
that's how
I
it
never
ends.
watched it either. Temp, where are you at? What do you got?
I don't know, man.
It's tough.
I mean, so MK12 sucks, right? I fucking hate that game. And not even, I mean, I hate all the story stuff, but on top of that, I hate it even more because of how it handles, like, highs and mids. I still think Breaker is way too common. I think there's so many missed opportunities with the 3D era characters coming back. But it doesn't have Breakaway, and that is huge. That is such a factor. But I also kind of just want to get it over with and say fuck it. I don't really want to talk about MK1 anymore.
It's got a pretty good Lee May. Hold on,
I also
can
want to
stop
be
this
honest.
still. It's got a good Lee May. It's got a good Lee May. Think about Lee May.
It's got an alright Lee May.
I could go into training mode and have
May.
fun with MK12. I can actually like boot up the game and do something that creates value. It's very hard to do that in MK11.
I know Temp has issues with 12th Lee May.
Yeah, well, I'm not. She's bland. She's just super. She's probably the least offensive out of all the MK like 3D era characters.
I mean,
she's just super bland.
She has the same problem that Ashra has, where they adapted like a character is in 2 games and they're more interesting in the second one, but they adapted her appearance in the first one. You know?
Okay, put Lee May slightly to the side. Shijinko Temp. Shijinko Temp. He's perfect.
Well, it's not even just Yujinko. The cameos in general are pretty good for the most part. I like the cameos. I know a lot of people hate the cameo system, but I was fine with that. I had no issues.
So think of it about
it's everything else
way.
I fucking hate about that game.
There's certain cameos that at least spark something good inside of you. What inside of Mortal Kombat Onslaught sparks anything good inside of you? Personally, just you.
What I just feel like I'm being blackmailed because if I say no, then I'm going to be forced to talk about MK1 again. And I don't really want to do that.
You are allowed to disagree. You can speak your mind. I know it's a burden, but maybe consider
I think he's got a point.
Don't want to talk about it. Might have a bit to do with where it ultimately belongs.
Yeah, I'm fucking sick of MK1. I'm going to say yes. MK1 sucks. Get it out of the way. Put it in the slot.
I just couldn't think of anything else. All right.
Johnny Cage doesn't do shadows anymore. What the fuck?
Cyborg, why'd you cross out Mythologies and not like Special Forces?
Oh, did I choose the wrong one? I did. Good call.
Yes.
Glad that didn't sit there the entire video. The way I threw this thing together so fast. Well, and by fast I mean it took me like 4 hours, but like you wouldn't think it just looking at it. But it's a pain in the ass to work in OBS sometimes. But good catch.
It was someone in the chat. It was Joseph Lombardi. Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, thank you for that because yeah, very important. Anyways, okay. Moving on. We've got 2 eliminations so far. We've got number 20 and 19 locked in. Shad, number 18. It's all you.
This is, I think, where Mortal Kombat Mobile belongs. My rankings for the next 2 games are pretty predictable. I guess swiping stuff left and right kind of counts as playing, so I don't... It's either Onslaught or Mobile goes here. These aren't games that I actively dislike or anything. I don't have problems with them. It's just that I don't seek out mobile games in my day-to-day life. And let me get this straight. Both of them have some amazing, amazing visual assets as done by like their art team. Like there's some beautiful things in both games. So I'm going to put Mobile here first and save Onslaught for the next spot afterwards, because I don't know. I guess I have to give Onslaught a bit of credit for like doing some MK OG timeline stuff, I suppose. Kind of interchangeable. I just don't have any feelings about MK Mobile one way or another, really, apart from a vague appreciation for the art assets. It's just not my bag. That's it.
Temp? Yay or nay?
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of neutral. I don't really have strong feelings either way. I think I played Mobile in like 2015 for like 22 minutes. So yes, I 100% agree. Full agreement.
I did try playing Mobile once, and my phone got like uncomfortably hot. It wasn't ready.
Well, I'm going to actually say no, only on the premise that I think Onslaught of the 2 is worse.
That's fair.
Mortal Kombat Mobile at least has a ton of good art in it. Like, it actually has a lot of the cooler skins that we don't get in the games. So on that merit alone, just from the content that we see actually in Mortal Kombat Mobile versus Onslaught, I have a higher appreciation for Mortal Kombat Mobile. I mean, it's lasted 10 years for God's sakes, whereas Onslaught like sunsetted in a year. So
that is unfortunate.
Kind of speaks to the quality.
Yeah, you can't even play Onslaught anymore.
So I would counter propose that we put Onslaught number 18, and then I won't care where mobile goes, but I think Onslaught should be lower of the two. So that's where I'm at with it. So I'll say no, just for
I'm going to agree with Cyborg. Pretty much everything he said. I do think Onslaught is worse, and I think mobile deserves some credit for the fact that it feels like the team that makes it appreciates the retro games more than the main console game team does. Because you've got stuff in there like retro skins for Goro and like Bald Shang in the blue robe. We haven't seen that since the like opening the opening scroll of MK2 in 1993.
I do tend to forget just how much stuff has actually been placed in there over 10 years. So you know what? I'll relent and I'll assent.
Okay. Well, that deadlocks it. So you can go again. So you can propose a different one. Since
right,
we're two.
It feels like you could just say Onslaught.
Yeah, if he
wrap
wants
it up.
to. Yeah, unless there's something else he feels strong about. But yeah,
no. This is literally where my list goes. It's mobile and it's Onslaught. They're two games I just don't feel very much for, apart from hey, nice art, nice assets.
Okay.
Cool shit.
So that's a vote for Onslaught. Temp.
Sure.
Oh, I'm a yes. So
yeah. I think that's a unanimous.
All right. Knock that one out. And then yeah, there it goes. So Temp, it is your pick for number 17.
Mortal Kombat Mobile.
It's time to go mobile.
Mobile.
And what I meant to say was, it's time to go mobile.
Mobile.
Strawberries are packed with fiber.
God, what have you done?
Let me
do the whole thing.
I'm looking at the list here.
Combo breaker.
Man, I can only really think of one other that I might put here, but I don't think we're ready for that conversation. So I'll agree. I'll say yes. I do like certain things about mobile. As Kevin Balf says in the chat, hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, sir, because you're always in our Discord, so I appreciate you. But yes, Day of the Dead Katana. I did like Day of the Dead Katana. But anyways, yes, it's between this and another game, so I'm a yes on mobile. Razor?
I'm sort of on two minds. Like I could say yes. Like it's like between mobile and versus DC Universe for me for this slot.
Interesting.
So I guess just for simplicity's sake, I'll say yes.
All right. Mobile is eliminated. Blair. Okay. And then believe it is my pick next. Yeah. This is tough now. I mean, you're not wrong with MK versus DC. I do think there's some redeemable qualities about it that I enjoyed, but I mean, if it's not this one, I mean, we're down to like the last two easy drop offs. I feel like, in my opinion, but I feel like there might be some differing. That's where we're going to start to split apart a little bit. But damn. You know what? Just for argument's sake, I'll throw it out there. Mythology Sub-Zero. Razor.
I'm gonna say no. I actually have I think two games that I would put lower than Mythologies. One of them being mobile. One of them be I mean, we already did mobile. I mean, one of them being DC Universe.
Gotcha. Okay, Shad.
Yeah, versus DC Universe is right around here too. But Mythologies Sub-Zero? Absolutely not. No.
Okay, so
In
that's
fact,
two
it's quite
no's.
embarrassing and silly how high Mythologies is up on my list, but we'll get to that.
That's what we're here for. I'm looking forward to these discussions. That'll be fun. Temp. Well, you've already deadlocked it, but Temp, you can shut me down or say yes, and I get to pick a different one. It's totally up to you.
It's a soft no. I like I said, I hate playing the game. Like actually holding the controller is miserable. But like I love Shinnok. I love the lore. I think it's a really good like portrait of Bihan. It just artistically the game has so much going for it. But yeah, the game really does fucking suck. So, but yeah, soft no.
It would be the perfect game if only it didn't suck.
So that effectively skips my turn, the 3v1. So Razor, you are up. Number 16.
All right, so we're going for number 16. MK versus DC. What Temp just said about it being miserable to play Mythologies is how I feel about versus DC Universe. And like there's nothing kind of value in it to make up for that. Like it has the worst fatalities in the series. It has, well, maybe not the worst. Armageddon might have the worst because it has that stupid create system.
That is the worst, I swear.
But they're pretty bad. Like Kano's fucking whatever that's supposed to be, where he like just jumps on you from really high.
Hey man, that could be quite deadly. Looks like shit, but it could be very deadly.
But like the story is, there's not a single good scene in that story.
Yes,
I don't think like
I can bring up one, exactly one.
Okay.
And that is Joker making a Wrath of Khan reference. That's it. That's all you get.
Okay.
What about the tea party between Sub-Zero and Scorpion? Oh wait, wrong game.
That is the wrong game, sir.
Sir, have you
where
been
your head's
drinking?
at. I thought you were gonna say between Sub-Zero and Superman.
That'd be sick.
But yeah, like there's only like 2 characters in the game that have a good costume on the DC side. Like even Batman looks like Batman, but then they put a bunch of pointless lines on it. I don't know, it's just there's 3 categories that I'm judging every game by. There's gameplay, story, and aesthetics. And, you know, Mythologies has 2 out of 3. Versus DC Universe has 0 out of 3.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Okay, so MK versus DC on the docket. Chad?
I will assent to this and say yes. There are only a select few things which I can really give MKDC credit for. The con scene being one of them. Some nice costumes for the likes of Scorpion being another. For every good costume, there's a terrible one, though. Looking at you, Jax.
Yeah, right?
And,
What about Sonya's jaw?
when I think about it now, the first image that comes to mind is just Batman driving an unconscious Scorpion in the Batmobile. And I've never seen a better visual representation of Warner Brothers and NetherRealm Studios. I can't give it the game much more than that. This is where it belongs on the list. Yes, thank you. It is a horrible, horrible game to actually play and to sit down with in terms of fighting, and I am the only person I know who has platinumed it, and I remember how broken all those goddamn trading combos were.
I still don't understand why you were motivated to do that.
Because that's how much I loved MK at that point in my life. I wanted to do everything, get every platinum, every trophy. Yeah. I'm at 97% on like both MK9 and MKX.
Yeah, but those are fun though.
Yeah.
Temp, now hold on just a minute, Temp. If I may, if we didn't get MK versus DC and the course correct on the gameplay, we might not have gotten the MK9 that we got.
I don't know.
And if let me just say this too. If not for MK versus DC, WB Games might not have. Just forget about that. Forget about that part. Forget about that part.
Yeah, that's
Just
not a
focus
plus.
on MK9.
That's not one for the plus column.
Focus on MK9 here. Zero
I
in.
can see the future.
Horse blinders. Horse blinders. MK9. MK versus DC setup. MK9. It was a correct. It was a course correction for gameplay.
You know what I remember from our recent Let's Play of versus DC? I remember my like nostalgia of versus DC was, oh man, they brought Sonya's bike kick back. That's the best move of the game. I love it. And then I tried to do the EX version, and I'm like, oh right, EXing things is miserable in this fucking engine. I tried like 30 times and did it maybe twice.
Pro moves.
Yeah.
Fuck pro moves.
Say it as often as I need to say it.
Combo trials, Temp. It was the first one to have combo
Batman
trials.
Sub-Zero.
Or no, it wasn't.
Like, I have a
because
bad feeling.
Deadly Alliance did that. Forget I just said that. I'm scraping
I just
the
still
barrel
know
here.
because like MK versus DC just doesn't really work as a game. Like I don't mean like conceptually. I mean the buttons don't do what they claim to do. So
it's true. The combo trials lie to you. That's why they're so hard.
These are buttons. They're lies.
But I really like the idea of just frames in Mortal Kombat. I am so just neutral on this game overall. I don't really give a shit one way or another. I honestly think I hate MK11 more, so I might just say no, just because I actually do hate MK11 that much.
Son of a damn.
Yeah. When you make a hard read and get a crushing blow, and then they break out of your combo, and you never get that opportunity ever again, that's worse than any pro move, in my opinion. So yeah, soft no, but like it's MK versus DC, man.
So what would you put for number 16 instead? Just for argument's sake, would you put MK11 down there?
I'm looking through the list. But yeah, I think I would put in MK11. Yeah.
Interesting. See, I was arguing for it just for devil's advocate's sake, but I'm looking at this list and it's hard to justify MK versus DC being much higher.
There's just so much that's wrong with it. There's just so much that's better, and there's just so much that's incredibly flawed that it's still more enjoyable. You know.
The worst part about MK versus DC is they honeypotted us to think we were going to get MK8 with a fake countdown. That was the worst part of MK versus DC for me. And that is damn near unforgivable.
But Temp, Worlds
was
collide.
Versus DC the one that had a countdown to a countdown, or was that not?
Yeah. No, that was Versus DC.
Look,
and I thought we were getting a game after MK Armageddon, which was really just heartbreaking at the time. So
was Versus DC the last game to come out while Ed had noobd.com as his website?
I think so.
It might have been.
See, I remember that countdown, and then the moon thing.
Mm-hmm.
Separate planet worlds collide. Yada yada yada. But yeah, so we've got 2 yeses, a no. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of what else it could be. I mean, I could see the argument for Mortal Kombat 11, but I don't even hate MK versus DC that much. But we're nearing rounding the corner to where we actually start to get to the good stuff. So, yeah. I mean, we're literally, if it's not MK versus DC now, it's literally going to be the next step, I would have to imagine. So, I'll say yes. We'll put it there.
It's behind us. Excellent.
You're destabilizing the boom tube.
Okay. Well, whose pick is it now? I can't remember who even nominated that.
That was me, I believe. I think Shad's up.
Yeah, I lost my turn, so that would have been you. So Shad, yep.
All right. This may shock you. And this is where we have to start getting into where we put different versions of the games. Because this is where I put vanilla Mortal Kombat 3.
Interesting.
I
thought I disliked Vanilla 3 the most, but apparently not.
It's not that I dislike Vanilla 3. It's just that Vanilla 3 is enhanced so much by Ultimate in terms of gameplay, in terms of its roster. There's very little that it actually has that I can say, like, endears me to it as a standalone release. The ending pictures are maybe the one thing, or like the bio pictures, but they brought the ending pictures back in Trilogy, so that's out the window. The game is also incredibly broken. Don't get me wrong, it is part and parcel of one of my favorite MK games ever, and I have a huge amount of nostalgia for actually playing it before Ultimate was ever even out in the arcades. But I mean, it's broken. It's obsolete. I've tried going back to it just for shits and giggles, and there's really no reason to. So, yeah, that's where I will put Vanilla 3.
All right, it's nominated. Temp?
Yeah, hard disagree. Okay. I love Vanilla MK3. Even though I do like Ultimate better, obviously, but what Vanilla has going for it is that it was the perfect execution of a singular vision. That game is aesthetically so cohesive. It is just flames in midnight concrete, the game. And it was such a nice turn from MK2. Just like MK2 was a really nice turn from MK1. Visually, I love that game. And it's the game that gave us Cybersmoke. It's the game that gave us Pit 3. It's the game that gave us Sub-Zero as a polar bear. There's just so many great things about Vanilla MK3 visually.
When you put it that way, I feel bad.
It gave us the clone.
If I have to give credit to the things it introduced that Ultimate didn't, then yes, it's obviously going to be way higher. But I was just trying to think in terms of utility.
It might be the one game where the ice clone functions properly. It does a lot of interesting stuff.
It's not the one game where that's Ultimate. Because the ice clone in Vanilla 3 is so broken that Sub-Zero can jump kick a blocking enemy and do
that's what I said, functioning.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do.
Oh my god. Okay, you're doing a bit. I apologize. Continue.
No. Logically,
he's doing a bit. I'm not. I think the game where the clone functions most properly is MKX.
Well, Shad is both right logically and morally, but I think just like as a singular vision, I think like Vanilla MK3 was executed so well. I have a lot of fun. Now, granted, would I play it? No, fuck no. But would I look at it all day? That select screen, seeing it for the first time, was like, wow, this is where Mortal Kombat's at now. And then seeing it again with Smoke on the screen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is Smoke a robot? So just, yeah, very good memories of that game. As a piece of art that's not MK Mythologies, that I could actually, like, press buttons in, very good memory. So, I would say no on Vanilla MK3.
Well. Your argument was very strong. You've swayed me. I was on the fence because, as Shad kind of alluded to, we have different versions of games here, and I think when I first proposed this, right, like whether we keep them separated, pause for the music to play, that's not going to play, but yeah, so when we keep them separated, when we were debating to keep them separated or to combine MK3 with Ultimate, etc., my logic was, right, if they're combined, I think that averages out how I would rate them. Whereas if we separate them, I think I rate one higher because of that and rate one lower because of that. So I think taking this approach, I do expect 3 to maybe fall a little bit further since they are separated. I think that's the more interesting approach. But this far down, I think Temp made a lot of good points that maybe we were going to credit Ultimate MK3 for, but technically it was MK3. So I think that was a fair pushback, and I will go with the no as well. Razor?
I relent.
I am also gonna say no, just because like if I put myself in the nostalgia shoes, like me at 11 years old when the game came out, I did not like Mortal Kombat 3 because it's such it is the most pure version of like John Tobias's artistic vision for the Invasion storyline, where it is all like urban wasteland New York, and it's all like, you know, the guys in spandex dressed like X-Force.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it that bothers me to lose the Asian fantasy aesthetics. And, you know, Ultimate and Trilogy I like better because they brought those back. But that does mean that the vision of 3 is diluted somewhat in Ultimate and Trilogy. So I can appreciate the artistic intent even if I don't agree with it that's in vanilla. And also it gave us Cyber Smoke. So
Fair.
Gave us Thriller.
It
I
also
just
gave us,
I can't.
It also gave us Kano Cybot.
That's true.
Only if you do the combat codes, like you don't ever have to see that.
But what if you
I remember
want
the
to?
prevailing thought being like, when that game came out, the prevailing thought was just, what a weird game. You know, from a lot of people, it was like,
it was
the
just
aesthetics
weird.
were like all different, and there's cyber robots now, and this one weird nomad dude, and
to
members
this
of the
day,
village people.
if I'm judging games by roster alone, I think Vanilla 3 has the worst roster.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because
fair.
I don't really like, you know, I mean, I kind of like the original version of Cabal, but he's been so ruined since that. Fuck him now.
I mean, it's definitely got its
you know,
downsides, and the roster is one of them. I mean, to just not bring back some of the more popular characters from the previous 2 games is pretty crazy.
Yeah, they dumped some of the most iconic icons, and then we got Sindel, Shiva, and Stryker.
So I definitely think there's an argument that
it's more in retrospect when you know that, like, as we do today, that they intentionally withheld Scorpion.
Oh yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yeah, to extend the life of the game.
To get people to buy Ultimate, yeah.
It's funny because we do.
Guy.
What's that?
I'm not a big Scorpion guy.
Well,
okay, but how do you feel about also Reptile, Katana, Melina, and Jade?
I mean, jokes aside, I do like Scorpion a lot. I just don't really like playing as him very often.
Sure,
but
I'm with you there.
I love Reptile. Love Reptile. When I saw Reptile on the select screen for the first time, like, I remember where I was standing in proximity to the arcade. That was such a big deal to me. But I mean, yeah, Ultimate's better. I visually just like the cohesion of vanilla.
I think, well, the thing is, like I said, if I put myself in my like 11-year-old shoes, how I felt about it, I've forgiven a lot of it now because I see the vision now.
Sure.
And I'm comparing that to what would I put in this slot instead, and it's like, if you gave me the choice between playing MK3 and playing MK11, which would I rather play? And it's got to be 3. So put 11 in this spot.
If you want to boil it down that way, sure.
Well, either way, that's 3 no's. So Shad's turn is now skipped, and it moves on to Temp. So now, Temp, you have the pleasure of nominating number 15 for vote.
Yeah, so nominate a game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
MK11, and I guess just like the 14-second version is I hated Breakaway. I aesthetically hate everything about that game. I hate Devora, and I really hate how they nerfed all the other win conditions. Like, ship damage is worse. You can't build meter with block strings anymore. So Strike Throw was way too good, and because of that, everyone blamed Staggers when really Staggers were great, and Staggers have been around really since MK9, arguably since UMK3. So yeah, just a lot of bad memories with that game. Yeah, definitely MK11.
Okay. So once again, we're at the stage where very much MK11's not, it doesn't have more legs. It's only going to make it 1 or 2 more spots if it does. So I'm in that position where it's like I could drag it out, but I I will counter. There are still several good things about MK11, even though it has a litany of bad things. We have an entire catalog of episodes where we talk about it all. But it had friendships back, which was awesome. I loved Frost, but we'll move that aside because I know that's a hot take for a lot of people. But Fujin was phenomenal. It had a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, but then it kind of falls apart from there. I'm still torn because I still feel like I know Mythologies is gonna hold a special place in people's hearts for the story and like building the lore and stuff, but still the gameplay was really, really, really rough. So I'm between those. So I'm just gonna, just for argument's say, no on MK11. Feel free to just completely move on past me though.
Yeah, look, I will grant you Fujin, you make a strong case just by saying that name. But you know what I remember more than Fujin? I remember years straight of tournaments where everybody in the top 8 was playing either Jackie or Cetrion. And
yeah.
Somebody deserves their head on a pike for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I gotta say yes to 11. Get that shit out of here.
Shad?
I also say yes to 11. And this is with knowledge of such wonderful things as it has a nice, fun little crypt that gets repetitive as shit after a little while, but it is a lot of fun to explore. It's not great things going for it. You know, it's got Kerry Tagawa Shang. It's got like the voices of Christopher Lambert as Raiden. It's got Lyndon Ashby, Johnny Cage as a bonus.
Those are good shout outs for sure. I wasn't thinking about
Bridget Wilson, Sonia. I mean,
yeah.
And like I don't think I've ever had more fun actually creating costumes for my character. Sure, there's a lot of unnecessary crap, but like, I made a really good MK4 Sonya. I made a really great trilogy Johnny Cage. You can make some good looking outfits for some of the characters. Not all of them, but some of them.
I feel like I made a lot of costumes that were compromises. That's what I remember about the costume system.
But you can get pretty close. But this is actually on my list exactly where I put 11, so I have no objections, no complaints. It's where it needs to be. There are many games that I rank much higher, flawed though they are, because this is also the point where like the story starts to like lose all sorts of narrative cohesion, and we're just kind of abandoning everything that 9 and X set up, and we're just removing Dark Raiden from the picture 2 chapters in, if even that.
The story and the direction it took the story is 1000% the worst part about the game. Yeah. So that's why I didn't expect it to make it very much further than this, if at all, because I mean, that's rough. That's where we started going full Marvel, and okay, well that solidifies that. Let's who's next? I'm completely.
I think that was Temp, so it's your turn.
Yep, let me do one thing real quick. Turn on streamer mode so that way people aren't hearing Discord message sounds come through the thing. Like, what the hell? I got a Discord message? I don't see shit. Okay, okay, looking back at the list. Now we're down. Okay, so this is where it's really gonna start to get tricky.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I will once again nominate Sub-Zero Mythologies. I feel like it's time. I feel like it's time. And it's not that there's not great things about it. There's absolutely phenomenal things about it. But I don't know.
Well, I think we're now at the point where almost every single game is an old timeline game. So Mythologies kind of does go here, yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that an agreement? Actually.
Is that an official yes, or?
Yes, I would agree with you. This is where I put Mythologies on my own list. Like, That's why I was so surprised that Shad put Vanilla 3 so low, because as much as I don't like about it, and as much as I do like about Mythologies, like just objectively, MK3 is a much more playable video game.
Yeah.
Filthy wretch. Furious Rex.
Traitor. Chad? You want to go?
I have to say no. Look, I know it's a terrible game. And I'm actually surprised and a little hurt that you're not defending this with me a bit higher, Razor, because it's responsible.
What can if I say no here, it's still the next one after.
I'm carrying that torch for you, Sub-Zero. I'm carrying that torch. There's just so much lore that comes from this game, and it feels like one of the very last times that we got to see Tobias's world of Mortal Kombat fully realized. You know, it gave us so much. It gave us another realm that we never got to fucking see again, that we still miss to this day. It gave us Richard DeVizio hamming it up as Quan Chi. It gave us a turnaround button. It gave us dinosaurs with guns and things. And
I remember fighting those dinosaurs. It wasn't great.
I was playing and I remember it, and it was hell, but I still appreciate everything that game tried to do.
You may recall
2 out of 3. Yes, the gameplay sucks ass, but it just does so much for the series, so much for the lore, the mythology. It unwittingly sets up Noob Saibot's entire character arc so perfectly.
Look, I've played the game. I've played the game a lot of times, which means I don't hate it so much I don't want to not play it, but there had been a time gap where I played it 20 times when it came out and then not again for years. And then I played it all the way through right before we did our LP where you played it. And my reactions are on the Discord if you go searching. It's this is much worse than I remember it being. This is much harder than it needed to be. Why is it like this? There's one boss who won't take damage from any move except the roundhouse kick. And there's nowhere in the game that tells you that. What the fuck?
Categories. The gameplay's just one category. Art direction.
Yeah, look, I love the cutscenes, and it is lore-wise actually the most important game in the entire franchise, believe it or not.
That's why you're putting in. Anakin, you're going down a path I can't follow.
But look, when we get to talking about the games that are coming next, we're going to be talking about the original MK1, 2, and 3, man. This Mythologies is not better than those.
It's not about whether the game is great or not. It's about how much I love it. You know,
I get it.
We put that aside. What makes a game the best thing to one person is not going to be the same thing that makes the game the best to other people. There are very few Mortal Kombat games, point in fact, I'd consider to be great playable games. Very few.
Well, quick shout out to my friend who's tuning in. He says the N64 controls are the worst part of Mythologies.
Fortunately, it does also exist on the PS1.
The only real way to play it, honestly. This is not a trilogy debate.
I had the N64 version as a kid. I had to deal with slideshow cutscene.
Okay, so we've got 2 yeses, a no. Temp, where are you at on Mythologies at number 14?
Yeah, I'll say yes. If we were reviewing MK Mythologies, the YouTube video, it'd be top 5. But we're reviewing the game. And it's just it's almost worse that it's a game because it's like you're blackmailed. It's like if you want to see the lore, you have to do some of the most excruciating gameplay you've ever encountered, and even that's not a guarantee because some of the cutscenes are contingent on what you do in the game. But
I mean, the other thing though is that this was it was still the tail end of the era of like NES hard games. Like I owned a lot of like those LJN movie adaptation games that the Angry Video Game Nerd has done reviews of.
Yeah.
So there is like a level of like, when I was that age, I was used to that shit. Not to excuse it, but it did hurt less then.
Well, does it not make a statement that Simon's Quest feels more responsive than MK Mythologies?
I don't know, because I wasn't playing Simon's Quest. I was playing Back to the Future, and that is just the most miserable fucking experience.
I own that game as well. I also thought it was more responsive. So I actually enjoyed that game, if I'm being honest. I had a good time playing. I wasn't good at it.
I don't think I ever completed a single level in Back to the Future. 4, 2, and 3.
There are a fair amount of Nintendo games I would much rather play Mythologies over than, and that includes the first fucking Ninja Turtles, my friend.
Yeah, I played that. I also kind of enjoyed that, but like I had no standards back then.
You know, I don't know if I ever got past the seaweed in the original Ninja Turtles.
Nobody got past the seaweed.
I don't think there is anything past the seaweed. I think the credits roll.
It's just seaweed.
But like, if you lose in Back to the Future on NES, there's nothing really lost, right? If I got blown off the cliff by Fujin, I have to fucking start over from another point in the game, assuming I have any continues left, right? So just the unforgiving nature. Fucking.
I don't know. In theory, if you don't beat the game, then Biff rapes your mom and you disappear from reality, right?
That's why you gathered the clocks, Razor.
I mean, that's the plot of the movie.
Okay.
I've lost this round as well.
Yeah, that's fine. We're all gonna have to make compromises at some point. So it is what it is. Okay, that was mine. Razor, you are up for number 13, sir.
Number Vanilla MK3.
You bastard!
I told you that if I say no to Mythologies now, it's still only gonna survive one more slot. It's not that big a difference.
It's like you're reminding me of, I don't know, like a fucking Charlie Murphy's Real Hollywood Stories conversation here. Like 10 minutes ago, we were like, MK3 was like, was so important and, in terms of the aesthetics and everything. And, there's a lot of good. Yeah, but no, fuck MK3. That's Razor right now.
I wouldn't.
I remember just grinding my feet on Charlie Murphy's
my shoes couch. On his couch?
I would never do that. That's absurd.
Yeah, I did it, though.
Fucking ass.
All right. Well, he nominated again, Shad. What are you going to do? You feel like it should be higher based on Temp's argument, or are you comfortable with this spot now?
Before you say anything, are we really going to put MK Gold over Vanilla 3?
I am, yeah.
You are more than welcome to interject, just to make pleas before
but
people
I know that I'm probably going to have the 4 games highest on my list out of anybody. I have reasons. It's mostly roster related.
Jesus Christ. Temp brought up a lot of good points. I didn't really consider that because I'm so used to considering MK3 and Ultimate as this one package. I credit everything that 3 did in terms of Ultimate as well, but now I'm gonna say no. Also on spite, because fuck you.
Temp, you're a no, I would assume.
Yeah, easy no. And not even just for gold. I would put Vanilla MK3 over MK4 in terms of which I'd rather play.
I knew that was coming from you. I knew Razor's
so would I, probably
pretty high on the 4, but that is a conversation for later on. So you're a no. I'm also a no as well. I think there are games still on this list that I would rather not play compared to MK3 Vanilla.
Sorry,
its day is coming soon.
Shit.
Fair enough.
Day is coming soon. Shad, your nomination then.
This is where I put Mortal Kombat X.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's time to have that conversation. Because it's a good game. It's a fun game. Rush could be way better. Could be way worse. There's Triborg. Some people love that. Some people hate that. I'm apathetic about it. It's also a point where guests started to become a thing, a real thing, and by that I mean, to me, kind of a problem.
Oh, no, there's technically 2 guests in 9.
I mean, no, it's not their first time showing up or anything, but it was where they started to become ubiquitous to me. That was when I began to realize that this wasn't going away. X is a game I'm very, very 50-50 about. It's unquestionably got like the most enjoyable story mode for me anyways, in terms of the NRS games. I don't like its gameplay anywhere near as much as I do 9's. I like its roster of new characters. That's probably the overall best thing about the game I can say. It gave us some great new faces.
I agree.
But it is visually, aesthetically pretty bland. It does a lot for Shinnok. I'll say that. It did an incredible job for Shinnok. It's a very middle of the road game for me. That's why I think it goes here. There are just games at the end of the day that I enjoy playing much more than I do X. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't really have a defined main in that game. It's either Molino or it's like Triborg Sector form. I don't like how they did Cybersmoke. It feels weird. There's so much to appreciate about it, but there's so much I'm very laissez-faire on. This is where I feel that X belongs, somewhere in the middle of the road.
I don't think Cybersmoke was in X.
Well, his Triborg form.
I know, I'm keeping up my... I always have to say that.
Oh, you're doing a bit.
It's not just the bit, it's how I feel, but yes, it is kind of a bit. But anyways, all right. MKX up on the docket. Temp?
Soft no. There's a lot of things to really dislike about MKX. There's a lot of things about MKX to this day that still really frustrate me. What kind of keeps it out of that lower spot for me is that gameplay-wise, it has the best version of so many characters. The best version of Reptile, the best version of Jax. My favorite version of Sub-Zero. I would say Hellfire probably is my favorite way to play Scorpion gameplay-wise. Easily the best Raiden. Like, if you want to like teleport like a crazy person, you can do that. If you want to do like the Big Trouble in Little China Thunder God thing, you can do that. As far as I'm concerned, it's the only version of Shinnok and Bo. Like, that's the only one I'd play. Like, I wouldn't. It's like I'm not gonna go back to like Deception Infinite Bow, where I had 3 little lightning bolts that saved my fucking life every round. There's some good things, and the Tea Party is great. We've always, all of us have been unanimous on how great the Tea Party scene was.
We do love that.
But it's got problems too. It's not a perfect game. It's far from. I would say some parts are even bad. There's a lot of things I don't like. I never really got on board with the Combat Kids. I hate Devora. I nothing Ferritor. I just don't give a shit. I think 8 new characters is gonna. I'm going to hold you to a higher level of criticism based on how many new characters you introduce in your fighting game. So, I just think so many aspects of that game don't meet the mark. It's too fucking dark. I can't see shit. Everyone looks like some version of Christopher Nolan. There's a lot of problems with that game.
It's the only game where I can go like, it has Goro, but it doesn't have Goro, you know? Fucking marketing.
And Goro's good.
Goro's good, but he was supposed to be in he was supposed to be in story and marketing. We're like, well, we want to make him an exclusive character for DLC for day one purchasers, and then they were like, okay, well, we don't want to put Goro in the game because we don't make people pay for a character that's in the story. I feel like we're ripping them off, and then marketing's all like, oh, but can you make him part of the story though? No, it's too late. Aw,
that's fair. That's really
story
fair.
Of Goro and MKX, man.
So you're a soft no.
Yeah, soft no.
It did so much for Shinnok. But it still made him feel like a low-rent Shang Tsung, which did not change from 4.
I'm gonna not even a soft no. I'm just going straight no. Like, I think it deserves to be higher on this list. The interesting thing about this, that's why it's so important who you have when you do this type of style of list, like how we're approaching it. Because if this was like the Yo Video Games guy, they'd have it like top 3. So that's why it's so interesting and fascinating, the group. So that's why I think this is a good 4 people to do it because we are going to differ in certain degrees. But anyways, back to MKX. Yeah, it looked like absolute dog shit. I did not like the aesthetics of the game. I think I criticized that quite heavily over the years. And that was one thing that MK11 I thought was excelled at, is getting the color back in there and the saturation and the vibrancy. I'm big into that type of stuff. Art aesthetic. I want to at least have a game that's fun to look at, and that is one of MKX's downfalls. It was not fun to look at, but I had so much fun playing Mortal Kombat X. Roster is hit or miss. I still think that's probably the second weakest thing about it. But yeah, I had so much fun playing Katana in Mortal Kombat X. And that was also the first game where I felt like I truly got a good feel of combos and juggling. And playing matches against Temp Sub-Zero was a ton of fun. I love the run system in that game for the most part. But yeah, I just think with how fun it was, I can't put it this low on the list. To me, there are at least a handful of Mortal Kombat games that I would enjoy playing less than Mortal Kombat X. And that's like the biggest factor, right? Is just how much you enjoy playing them at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm a no as well. Razor. We've got.
I'm also gonna say no. I actually have MKX in my top 5.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this is gonna.
if you guys,
be an interesting.
Would not have expected that.
Back and forth.
Well, if you guys recall, back when we started this channel and we were, covering MKX in real time, I was always the most forgiving about the roster.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, it's also
the Kombat Pack 2 reveal. I broke my siren.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yep.
I'm okay with this.
I'm not that mad.
I wonder, like, why isn't Rain playable? Why isn't Rain playable? Why?
I don't care about Rain. I gotta be honest with you.
Why is Kung Lao in this game? Why is he a character?
Fujin, though, right?
Look,
why isn't Fujin playable?
Yeah,
I would have liked Fujin. There are certainly some additions I would have appreciated, but there's a point at which
who you are. There's problems with the roster.
It's like one character, 2 characters. That's a point at which it feels like nitpicking to me. The one thing, like the one major downside to MKX is the aesthetics. It is, gray and brown, and that fucking sucks. But as a counter to that, I would point out that, at least in my opinion, of all the NRS era games, MKX has the best costume design.
Interesting.
MK9, you had shit like fucking Default Scorpion, which is just hideous, or like nearly naked belly dancer Katana, not my style. Sonya with her tits out in giant high heels, stiletto boots. That's weird.
Has my favorite Katana outfit. Personally.
11 has outfits that look like they were designed for Injustice, and 12 looks like it was made in Midjourney. There's, X is the only good one, costume-wise. So that kind of offsets all the gray and brown for me. And then it's just like the game is sort of specifically catered to my playstyle. It is a rushdown rewarding game.
Yeah, it's definitely not without its flaws, but I seems like this maybe just needs to be a bit higher. Well, anyways, just to keep it moving. 3 no's. Sorry, Shad.
People hate the Canadians' opinion.
I think we've all
your time will come. Your time will come.
I would say the only person that hasn't had a 3 no-er so far, I think, is maybe Temp. But Temp, speaking of which, it is your turn.
I don't even think we need to vote on this one. It's MK Gold.
Interesting.
And
you put it less than MK4, probably due to glitches and stuff?
Yeah, glitches and whatnot, and the fact the game doesn't even work on launch.
Unless it's hot and new.
Oh my
God.
I did not have the game with that sticker. I will agree that Gold is expressly worse than 4.
Gold is still in my house. It still has that sticker. I've got to make an emoji
also,
for the Discord.
Like, I appreciate the additions to the roster, but then you look at their fatalities, and they're the jankiest ones of the game, and it's like, was it worth it even though?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely a sucker because I like having Cyrax in there. I liked his ending, getting his mask taken off and stuff was cool.
Oh
But
yeah. It actually, you know what? It was worth it from a story point of view.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it
Like,
kind of starts and stops there.
Like every character they added actually has a really good arcade ending. And all of them but Baraka's are canon, I think. Well, Sector's isn't because he kills everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about the thought process that went into Gold, but the reality is just it is borderline an unplayable game. It is absolutely I mean, if you want to talk about like playability and balance, it's a problem it shares with MK4, obviously, but like Gold is just like forget it, you know? If you pick one of Noob Saibot's outfits, the game crashes. I don't think they fixed that on the second version at all either. I'm not certain. It's been a while.
Okay, well, just getting to the votes. I'm looking at this list. There might be a couple personal choices that I might squeeze slightly lower, but it's not something I feel strong enough about. So it's a soft yeah, sure. Razor?
I want to say no, but I don't know if I could defend that position. All I can tell you is that I have it higher on the list than MK3.
it's I think it's the what do you credit the game itself for bringing us. It brings us a few extra endings if we're using the MK3 to ultimate comparison, but MK4 gives us 95% of what's already there.
Yeah. That's kind of how I look at it
yeah,
too.
But like that 5% is Cyrax and Kung Lao's fucking ending, which is the only good thing Goro's ever done.
I do.
Yeah, but
are you ever looked better on a select screen? I love how he looks in that game.
He looks good. I just feel like once you watch that ending, then you have to actually play the rest of the game, and that just isn't worth it for me.
Yeah, I get it.
See, this is another example of where, like, if we would have combined them, I think they're just Gold drag 4 down, because I look at separating these two as only heightening 4's chances to move further up the list.
Yeah. I mean, 4 is definitely above Gold.
But yeah. Anyways, what was your ultimate vote?
Well, I don't think it matters because I'm probably going to say no, and then these two are going to say yes anyway. So,
well, I was a yeah, soft yeah, but a yeah. So you've got
let's call it a soft no.
Okay, well then Chad could technically deadlock this if he wants to kind of keep it around a little bit longer.
I do not. This is exactly what it needs to be. This is where Gold belongs.
See, that's what I thought.
It is literally in this place.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I have a game a little bit under it, but looking at the list again, it's kind of interchangeable. So I'll say a soft yes and let it slide.
Honestly, it got away with murder. It beat 11 and 1. It beat 11 and 12.
It got away with a lot of shit, but it was time.
It beat Mythologies. I'd rather play Mythologies, honestly.
I think that bothers me. It shouldn't beat Mythologies. It's as broken as Mythologies on its own terms.
Y'all should have countered and thrown that out there.
I just forgot that MK Gold existed because it's such an awful game. So I wasn't thinking, but it's done. It's done.
It's solidified. It got away. Like I said, it got away with murder just by sneaking under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, fucking Dark Horse, man. Number 13. That's appropriate.
Yeah, it's got the unlucky number.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that was temps, right? So. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. See, this is where I'm probably gonna have to get controversial a little bit here, because there's a couple here that I probably value less than other people here. But we're getting to the point where some persuasion and the rubber meets the road, as they say. I'm going to say, ugh. Yeah, it's tough. I'm going to say, gosh, this is so tough now. This is really getting tough. Shit. Yeah, if we don't have that on the soundboard, we need to add that. It's the straight up fatality music. Fuck it. Just to keep it moving, I will say Armageddon. And the reason for that is Creative Fatality was extremely lackluster and disappointing. Yes, don't get me wrong, bringing all the characters together, save for half of Motaro, was impressive and cool and obviously a good selling point. And I was super hyped for it on release and looked forward to it as it was coming out. But at the end of the day, it was just a collection of everything that they just had done before. And we didn't get bios for half the characters. The endings were a mess. And they essentially wrote themselves into a corner of which caused the reboot, which I didn't exactly love either. A reboot that wasn't a reboot because it technically continued, but it didn't. So that was awkward. And yeah, I just did not love Creative Fatality. Create a Character was kind of cool. But then again, I'm also not a big fan of Create a Character like in online gaming, because then you just run into a lot of people's weird ass custom creations instead of seeing the characters you just want to play against, like the actual cast of the game. So that's like the pro and con of that.
Cube.
Yeah, so that's like the pro and con of that. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, and then I think of the rest of the package, like Motor Combat. Like, I've seen so many people asking for Motor Combat come back, and I'm like, do you really want that? Because it was just so, like, bare bones of, like, implementation. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Mario Kart. And I would love a Mortal Kombat copy of Mario Kart. That was the Temu version, the Wish.com version of Mario Kart. It was so basic and cheap.
Sometimes I look at this series and I think that so much of what it is the Temu or like cheap no-name version of other franchises, you know? It's like how I look at MK1. It's like, oh, this is the Temu version of Marvel vs. Capcom. Cool.
If you want solid side games, I think it peaked at Deception. I loved Puzzle Combat, Chess Combat's neat, and obviously Conquest is goated. So, like, yeah, I just thought Armageddon was a step down in that regard as well. There was still other cool things like the death traps that they continued on from Deception and stuff. But yeah, just as a package, it felt extremely rushed, which it was. They had less fighting styles, so on and so forth. There was just so many compromises in that game that I can't imagine it making much further on this list personally, but maybe I'm way off. But yes, Armageddon. Razor, what say you?
I'm gonna say no. I actually have Armageddon fairly high on my list.
Fuck off.
Most surprising again to me.
The thing is, most of what you said isn't wrong, but the things I like about Armageddon, I like them more than I like several other games.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is, like, if I was gonna start putting a 3D era game this low on the list, it would be Deadly Alliance for gameplay reasons.
Oh, okay.
I find it personally offensive when you take away, like, everybody's special moves. I can't deal with the fact that all Raiden can do is a fucking shoulder charge.
Yeah.
You know, and Armageddon, it's not just that it brought all the characters back, and it was nice seeing Reiko again and finally being able to play as Serena and all that kind of stuff. The more important thing to me is that the largest number of characters out of any 3D era game had as most of their classic moves back. Like, you had a Kung Lao being able to do the teleport again, and I wish they had done more with Johnny, Sonya, and Jax in that regard, particularly.
Kung Lao didn't even have the spin back. I don't think they gave him that back.
No, he didn't. Which is annoying because Ashra has it, so they could have just slapped it on there.
It's right there, man.
Yeah, Yeah. But like, at least he does have the teleport. You know, there was some attempt to give the characters who were returning, you know, who weren't in Deception, uh, more moves. The way that they gave the characters who were in Deception more moves. So I have to give Armageddon that over Deadly Alliance. Like
Okay.
Deadly Alliance has, I think it's the best game in the franchise story-wise. But I hate playing it.
That's an
Hate.
interesting
Like
conflict.
I feel about Deadly Alliance the way I feel about Johnny not having shadows in 12.
Yeah.
Stop doing this. Let the characters have their classic fucking movesets.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you would say Deadly Alliance lower, but so that's an official no from you, Shad. Back to Armageddon.
It is a soft assenting yes. I'm sorry, Razor.
Interesting. This is where it gets really interesting.
Remember when I said that there was a game that was just above gold? I feel like it could go either way. It was Armageddon. That's how my list is structured. It's gold and it's Armageddon.
All right.
So I agree totally with everything that you said, but the no BIOS thing, the nonsense bullshit endings, it bothers me to such a degree. And like the entire awful creative fatality system, you know, you get special moves for some characters, but you also lose fatalities, which are part and parcel of a character's identity a lot of the time.
I get it, but I also feel like by Armageddon, I was kind of sick of doing fatalities anyway.
And you know, like you've said, like it isn't how the series should have ended. The only reason that I did it, that I wrote like bios and bios for all the characters that never got any, was just because I wanted to give like the series some sort of sense of closure. But I do agree with you that it could have gone on longer than that.
I feel like
point of the game was to just murder everyone and just call it a day.
People always say they wrote themselves into a corner and they had to reboot, but nobody's dead until the start of 9. They could have just survived the pyramid and gone on to do another game in the same timeline. There's nothing that says everybody had to die.
I'm almost said I'd killed off half the cast easily.
I'd have, yeah, but like, I mean, it could have been the bad half instead of everybody. You know, get rid of, trim the fat, get rid of Kano, get rid of,
exactly.
Striker, get rid of Dairyu and Darius. Didn't have to kill Scorpion, Sub-Zero, fucking Sonya Blade,
The game bothers me on a variety of levels, All right, I think it belongs here. Also, the air combat looks fucking stupid. It's never not going to look stupid.
I kind of like air combat.
I don't. I really don't.
All right, well, this is where it gets interesting.
It looks silly at a cutscene, but I don't mind doing it in gameplay.
So we've got, obviously, myself who nominated, so that's a yes. We've got Razor, a no. We got Shad, a yes. So Temp, it is entirely up to you.
I mean, everyone knows what I'm going to say. I think Mortal Kombat Armageddon is a good time. I'm a big fan of that game. So yeah, I'm going to say no. I enjoy playing it. I love air combat because I have a Marvel background in MVC1 especially.
Another thing I want to say about air combat is that it looks like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's only stupid if you think kung fu movies are stupid.
Is that what you're saying?
It's also thematically, it's the speed at which they move that bothers me. The air combat looks good in the MVC series. It's like this endless barrage of attacks.
I will admit that it's kind of stiff. But I do want them to look like they're doing wire work. I want them, like, the MVC air combat, it looks like people jumping. It doesn't look like people hanging in midair. And I want them to look like they're hanging in midair like a 70s movie. I want them to be on wires.
I mean, it even, honestly, I think it's very appropriate for the franchise, no matter how you execute it, because people, even at the time, people said air combat did not make sense, but I'm like, if you watch combo videos for MK2 and MK3, it's basically volleyball. So I always thought it was appropriate for Mortal Kombat to have aerial offense continue into additional sequences, right? So
yeah, there's air combat in Shaolin Monks. That's where they got the idea to put it in Armageddon. It just
It looks so
it
much better.
it doesn't
though.
look
It
so
feels
stiff.
so much better. It's
All right.
It's also
Well,
there's some of it in 12, which it's a shame about the rest of 12.
Also, remember what Armageddon brought back too? It gave me Fujin again. Like I thought the redesign for Rain was really sick back then. I still kind of like it.
That might be my favorite Rain.
And Shinnok, we got Shinnok. I missed Shinnok
That's
much.
definitely my visually that is my favorite Shinnok.
It's good. It's not my favorite, but it's good.
We got
easily
Sektor
the
back
best
too,
Reiko.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
What?
You like Armageddon Reiko better than MK4 Reiko?
Absolutely. MK4 Reiko can't do that sick ass throw where he volleyball kicks you like he does a
I thought you meant costume. I thought you meant visual.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I also mean costume. I like the I like the shirtless shoulder pads and the.
It's not maroon enough. I can't do it. It needs to be more maroon.
I think it's plenty maroon.
He's mostly a shirtless dude.
Shadowy.
But the shoulder pads are maroon. The ninja flap is maroon. His leg shin guards are maroon.
I think we have different standards for the amount of maroon we desire in Reiko.
MK4 Reiko is just a ninja with the hood off.
But he's maroon, Razor.
All right.
Mortal Kombat trilogy.
What?
Mortal Kombat trilogy.
Is that your vote instead of?
Well, since it deadlocked at 2 and 2, I'm throwing it to Mortal Kombat trilogy. My reasoning here is it's the same Armageddon logic, right? It's taking everything we've done before and throwing it all in one game. Unless my understanding is wrong, please correct me. I didn't play a ton of it. I own it, but I haven't played a ton of it. It's not the one I go back to over the years. That'd be a couple other ones. But my understanding is it's quite broken.
Incredibly.
So
it is a joke of a game. It is.
I can't credit it for doing see the thing with Vanilla 3, right? We still got to credit it for all the things that we love about UMK3 started in MK3. UMK3 just did them all better and added on to it, right? So I get that. But Mortal Kombat Trilogy is just taking everything, putting it in one package, and don't get me wrong, there is an appeal to that, but I can't credit Trilogy for a lot of things in the way that I can credit a lot of these other games that are standalone. So I'm going to put it there, and yeah, that'll be I'm pivoting to that since I got Deadlock.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a very soft no. I can't disagree with anything you're saying, but I cannot put Trilogy below Vanilla.
All right.
Just because it has the ultimate content in it.
Sure. I definitely can understand the pushback. Shad, what say you?
A soft no. It gave us a few things. It gave us the chameleons. It gave us Noob Saibot's concrete moveless for the first time ever. It gave us Rain. Although, if we're splitting hairs, you could say that Ultimate did that too. But because I guess Rain was also playable in Ultimate, SNES, and Genesis.
Yeah, the home versions.
I don't know. It's
those are kind of half trilogies. It's weird.
Exactly. It's an almost thing, and they didn't even have fatalities. Noob didn't anyway.
What I would say is when we're talking about Ultimate, we should talk specifically about the arcade version, because one of the flaws of Trilogy, which also applies to the home versions of Ultimate, is that the graphics and sound and just the quality of the port is less than arcade perfect, and it doesn't look super great.
Mm-hmm. It depends on your system. N64 has shite sound, PSX has shite loading. There is no concrete 100% excellent Trilogy experience because each one of them has so many tiny little horrible flaws, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's two soft no's, or two no's regardless. Temp, are you a straight no, or?
No, it's the hardest of yeses. It is rock hard, yes. It is fully erect, yes.
Okay.
I think Trilogy is so bland. And remember how I said I liked Vanilla MK3 as a portrait? Mm-hmm. Well, I hate Trilogy as a portrait. It is just palette swaps all over the place.
That's kind of where I was.
I like the bosses being playable, but that was available on a version of the game I don't own, and that version of the game didn't run well anyway. There's just no ways to go back to it. It's broken.
They're just like broken playable, right?
My counter argument is Johnny Cage.
Yes.
Here's the thing: is I like what's his name, Chris Alexander.
It's Chris Alexander. I've almost called him Jason Alexander so often.
I think Chris Alexander is a better looking blue screen Johnny than Dan Pacina ever was.
I never picked Johnny Cage. I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. I wasn't really a Cage fan until like post MK4.
Oh, fuck.
So, but I will give Trilogy credit for the inception of Noob Saibot's toolkit, which was very well done. I love the teleport offense. That was really
it invented Noob and Rain's moves. And here's another thing: Ultimate has shitty placeholder bios for a lot of the characters that were added, like Ermac and Human Smoke and whatnot. Trilogy has the real endings.
Yeah.
All right, well, that deadlocks it again. So we've gone from Armageddon to Trilogy. It means I got to pick again. So if we're not having either of those two games, I'm starting. I know Vanilla 3 must be on Razor's mind, but I just, to me, that's not where I'm at. So now you're kind of forcing my hand to the next one. Next up for me is probably the original Mortal Kombat.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back and played them all so many times. We did the streams. I've done it with my friend. It's, out of all the originals, it is the least fun to play. Don't get me wrong, I actually still enjoy it. But in terms of the amount of content it has, the amount of characters, the actual fun of the gameplay, the speed of the gameplay, oh, it is molasses. So if we're not doing Trilogy or Armageddon, I'm going to original Mortal Kombat. Razor?
I mean, again, just because I put it above Vanilla 3, I gotta say soft no. For me, like, I totally agree with what you're saying about gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But MK1 has, like, some of... Like, I think of the original Trilogy, 1 has my favorite stages in music. Like, I really, really like the 70s Kung Fu movie, the stuff directly ripped off from Enter the Dragon. It's just, I want to be on Shang's Island, and I want it,
I'm with you,
to be funky.
I mean, I love so many things about it, but yeah, if I'm talking about which one I want to play, I look at everything left, and barring the two that I've already been deadlocked on, that's where I put it. I think from a gameplay perspective. But yeah, so that you're a no.
It is a soft no.
Okay, Shad?
It is a soft, semi-hard no. Not as hard as one might think. It's a few spaces still yet below where I'd put MK1. We can't neglect the fact that it's the originator, that it's where all of this comes from. It's so very important. And it is playable, unlike Mythologies. Is it fun to play? Man, mostly depends on your version. We're thinking of the arcade here primarily. Still, I do see where you're coming from, but yeah, like Razor, I can't.
Let me ask you this.
I can't in good conscience put this below 3.
Okay, so you would, if it's coming down to
3 anyway.
Vanilla 3, you'd rather Vanilla 3 go below this, and in the two previous that I mentioned, right? Like Trilogy and
just
Armageddon.
A little bit, yeah.
Vanilla 3. Temp. Well, you've probably already agreed with me, so like we're deadlocked, I assume.
Well, for MK1 specifically,
the original Mortal Kombat, yes. Do you? Well, yeah. I guess technically you can just know it, and we can move on from me because clearly I'm not digging in the right spot here.
Well, I was going to say
parody.
Aramon,
it's a medium no.
Aramon asked a real good question. So if we can't nominate something, what happens? So technically, eventually I'm going to pick something that gets 3 no's, and my turn will get skipped, and then Razor will not. If we can't agree on something, I mean, we'll be sitting here forever. So at one point, we got to make a compromise. What that looks like is just somebody's got to flip. We only have so many games left in so many spots. So at some point, it's going to get to a point where we absolutely have to just make reservations and compromise. But I don't think we're there yet. So Temp, where's your vote?
Yeah, it's a medium no. I think what's really cool about MK1 is I think all three versions, the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, and the arcade version, all have like different soundtracks, and they're all pretty good. I enjoy all of them to different extents.
Oh,
right?
the Genesis version is so amazing. It's my favorite,
really
like, old school composition, possibly.
I love the SNES Pit so much. That is such a good track. And it's really the only game where I still enjoy the gore. I like how blood looks in that game. Just the spray from Raiden's fatality. I still enjoy that. Like 20 something years later. More than that, actually. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Aesthetically, I think it's a very tight package. It's kind of similar to MK3, to be honest with you. Vanilla MK3 and the original MK1 are both visually very tight looking games. They both look like a singular vision executed very well. So
Okay.
yeah, and just Johnny Cage 3 heads, right? So yeah, I like the game. Big fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do like the game, just to be clear. But yeah,
Was that an MK1 thing? I thought that was only an MK2 thing. 3-head thing.
I think you could do 3 heads in MK1.
I think so. I'd have to double check now. Now I'm not sure, but I think you could.
Well, just to keep it moving, that's 3 no's. So my turn's over. I'll have to recuperate and figure out what the hell I'm doing over here. Razor, you are next, sir.
All right, so I think I said MK3 for 13 and it didn't go through, but we're on 12 now, so I can say it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. Yeah, it resets with each number.
Yeah, so. Vanilla MK3. I think we gotta move on here. It needs to be like MK3, then MK1, then Trilogy, then we can start debating things.
All right. So Vanilla 3. Shad, where are you at?
I Ascent. This is where it belongs. I had it placed much lower, as you're aware. But you know, we do need to move along, and I'm quite content with it going here.
Temp.
There are games I would much rather play.
Temp.
I mean, no, but I've stated all my reasons, so we can move forward.
Well, I'll say no as well.
All right, that's a deadlock. So I
fucking
again.
Okay, something has to go here. It has to be MK1, it has to be Vanilla MK3, or it has to be Armageddon.
Okay, so let's revisit where we actually think are the contenders here, because that's kind of how we typically move past this, at least when I've seen them kind of run the same type of thing, is if we start getting in the idea of what's 12, 11, 10, we need to start making some reservations of, okay, it's fine if that goes there, but this needs to be the next thing, and we agree to it. So that way...
Yeah, look, I specifically think the next 3 should be MK3, and then 1 or Trilogy in whichever order. I don't care.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can speed this up, then honestly, I'm willing to bend on Vanilla 3. I'm willing to... There's some games I'm not willing to be flexible on. This is not one of them. For the sake of moving forward, I'm happy to let go of Vanilla.
Okay, then yeah, let's do that.
But that's not going to be true later.
Sure. Yeah, and that's just... to Armand's question, I mean, like I said, I've watched them kind of do this style, the video games do it, and yeah, that sometimes they deadlock for a good 20 minutes on something. But to move on, you need to just make compromises and be flexible with certain things and be inflexible with others. That's perfectly fine. So we've got Vanilla 3, if I understood that correctly. So let me get that on the list here.
At this rate, this is going to need 2 episodes.
I think it'll speed up once we get going, but yeah, just keep in mind when we're championing things, there may be, if we're not if it's not actively on the chopping block, save that discussion for when we're actually on the thing. But regardless, okay, so that's Razor's pick. So Shad, technically it is your pick.
Armageddon. I once again put up Armageddon for consideration. And then Temp died, and his last words were, "I agree with Shad." And then they all moved on.
No, I am alive, and I will say no on Armageddon. I am a big Armageddon guy, and
versus World again.
It was Armageddon versus Trilogy, man. I'm going to go Armageddon every time, dude.
Okay, so we've got a yes and a no. I will say yes. That is where I originally started with 12. So Razor, it is up to you.
It's a no, which I believe are the same votes we had last time Armageddon
Okay,
came
so
up.
that's fine. Deadlock on Armageddon. So Shad, you'll need to pick a different one. What's next on your personal, what you feel belongs there?
Be a real shame if you pick Trilogy.
You have my support.
Okay. In the interest of fairness, Trilogy is a little higher on my list than it probably should be. It is a very flawed game. I will assent to putting Trilogy here.
Okay, Temp.
Yeah, Trilogy has some merit in some things, but overall, if it's Armageddon versus Trilogy, I will always err on the side of Armageddon. So yeah, that's a yes on my end.
Well, you successfully defended Armageddon from the clutches. So Trilogy on the block, you say yes. I say yes as well. So that's...
I'm going to give it a yes. I mean, it doesn't matter what my vote is because it's 3 anyway, but sure.
But solidarity.
We all
Good to know.
agree. It's a bit more playable than Vanilla 3.
Okay, so that's number 11 solidified. It's going to get harder from here. Number 10. It is
10 would be easier.
It should be easier, but there are going to be ones where we probably argue over.
Well, I'm just relieved we only have one MK3 game left. I think that was my big worry going into this. Is like, how are we going to deal with all these fucking MK3 games, right? So,
and it's
that's a big relief on my end.
It's good that only one of them is going to make top 10, and I think that's fair. Same with 4 versus Gold.
And I'm picking a game, right?
Yep, it is your pick now.
This is one I actually do have to explain, unfortunately, because this is easily my most controversial pick. But I've been saying this for years. I know you three know exactly what I'm going to say, but it's MK4. And the reason is I love the premise. I love the setup. I like Shinnok and Fujin so much. But I just do not like how the game was executed. I don't really like a lot of the gameplay changes, even though I've come to respect it a little bit more over the years. Now that I've actually studied how that game is played at high level, I do have quite a bit more respect for it. But that game is just janky as hell, and it has some great fatals. But yeah, I think it aged terribly. I think it does not do well against its contemporaries at all. So yeah, and there's a lot of lazy things like Sonya being able to go into the Netherrealm always bothered me. It's like, how is that possible? You shouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, just yeah, MK4 just never really liked the soft reboot atmosphere of that game.
Does she actually ever go into the Netherrealm? I mean, her ending takes place on a cliff in Earth.
I think she says she'll meet someone
there's something about ever since you followed Liu Kang into the Netherrealm. Yeah, I mean that could be like speaking in like generalities or something.
He metaphorically followed Liu Kang into the Netherrealm.
You know, Sonya is kind of an asshole, though. Like, who's let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
So
most people are assholes in Mortal Kombat.
I could see Sonya having, you know,
can she
being shady enough? Like she's killed some black dragons in her day. She's got, you know, some blood on her hands, some red in her ledger.
A little bit of a taint.
So
but this is like right in the same era as Mythologies, right? Where they established all of these rules. Like this just happened, right?
Right. No, but the rule was not complicated. It was if you're a sinner, then you can go to hell.
All right.
So regardless, like all these great MK3 characters that I still like, Smoke on top of that mountain is just forgotten.
Yeah.
And forgotten for a good while. MK4 did a lot of damage. It took a long time to repair that damage, right? So
it did maximum damage.
Oh my god. That hurt.
So I'm a no on number 4.
You're a no.
Don't get me wrong. I definitely think 4 has one of my least favorite rosters. Just like if we're talking vanilla 4, obviously. And I agree completely with you, Temp, that it got rid of a lot of the cool characters that I love. Cyrax guy here, of course, you being a Smoke guy. So we're in the same boat there. But I find when I go back and play them, I enjoy playing 4 and the theme of 4, the atmosphere, the aesthetics of 4. It just feels really, really cool. I honestly think out of all the original games, 4 has grown the most on me in time. And I don't mean that it's my favorite of the original 4 of like the arcade era. It just means that initially I think I was much harsher on it, and I think over time it's gotten a much softer spot for me. So I think number 10 is too low for 4 when I'm still seeing Armageddon and the original MK. I feel like I want 4 to be higher, so for me it's a no. Razor?
MK4 is one of my favorite Mortal Kombat games, period.
Oh God!
This is not
We're gonna
new
be here for a while,
information.
guys.
This is not new
Stay
information.
tuned for part
Look,
2.
I expected to be the only guy sticking up for 4. I'm a little surprised, but a lot of it comes down to roster, and I just don't like the 3 roster. I can't put MK4 below Ultimate. Even like it, Ultimate is a good game. Ultimate is a great game in some ways. But then I think about it, and it's like, yeah, but the rib cages and the like 6 hands and the
But the Jarreks.
Jarek is the only bad character on that roster. Okay, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, one Jarek is worse than Shiva, Striker, Sindel, fucking Nightwolf. I don't like the 3 roster, and to be honest, I don't like some of the 2 roster. Like, I'm kind of glad Kung Lao and Baraka aren't there.
Gasp.
You're giving me the urge to pee angrily,
It's all right.
Or that might just be.
See, Temp, you said you think we're going to be here for a while. The thing is, it's still a majority vote. I may disagree with 4 here, but that doesn't mean I necessarily think it's top 5. And Razor may feel that way, but I think eventually it will make its time on the chopping block. But just to keep things moving, because yeah, there are plenty of discussions to be had as we make our way through the top 10.
I will be happy to concede when we get higher.
Sure.
If 4 doesn't deserve certain spots, but while we're like dead in the middle, and there's still like there's like the original Mortal Kombat still on the list, and like we're fuzzy about like Armageddon and MKX and stuff like that. I don't know. I like 4 better than some of those things.
My prediction is slots 1 through 4 are going to take at least an hour by themselves. That's my prediction.
Hey, and if if we need a part 2 for the top 5, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll gauge our time by that point. But I would at least like to make it
out for you right after we're done ranking Marvel characters that we want in MBC4.
Damn it.
Coming up in just a hot second, folks, we promise.
Just gotta wait another year on that one. But anyways, so
okay, but let me give you my dissertation on Ben Reilly though.
so Razor's a no on 4. I was a no on 4. So already it's outvoted. But just for where we know where you're at, Shad, where are you at on it?
I was actually going to say yes.
Okay.
I can't in good conscience put Mortal Kombat 4 above Mortal Kombat 1. I just can't do it.
Okay. And hey, let's just stop it there because we'll probably be revisiting it in the not too distant future. So we can kind of argue it further from there. That was Temp's pick, and he's deadlocked. So you get to vote again, Temp, or nominate a different one. What's next on your personal chopping block that you think is going to get some votes?
Oh man, like we're about to face. I know what I'm picking, but we're going to face another deadlock. I gotta say Deadly Alliance, man. Like I don't want to say that, but I don't really have a choice. Oh well, no. That's not true. MK1. I would go MK1 over
the original MK.
I do like Deadly Alliance more than MK1, so yes, I retract that.
Okay, so if you're
so MK1 then.
If you're choosing the original MK, I am a yes. I said that's in my next like 2 or 3 ago. So yeah, the original Mortal Kombat. I think top number 10 is perfectly fine. I mean, it's got great legacy, but yeah. So I'm a yes.
I'm also gonna say yes. I mean, for all I said about loving the 70s kung fu movie vibe, Deadly Alliance also has that vibe, and 1 is a very primitive game, in all honesty.
Okay. Well, Shad, where are you at? Just so we know where you
For
stood.
posterity, once again, I am a no, but again, a soft one. Remember how I said I would not put 4 above 1? That's because I have 1 just above 4.
Okay.
So it's close enough that I'm okay with relenting, even if it did matter whether or not.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sympathetic to that. I don't feel good putting 1 this early, really, but I literally, like, the gun was at my head. I didn't have a choice. So.
Well, this is, yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're at in the list now. It's gonna, people's favorites are gonna be on the line.
It's an okay place for it. I'll give it that much.
Okay. Well, that was Temp's pick. So I'm gonna go Armageddon. Try this again. I feel like we're at that point. We're at the point where the ones that are still decent and good and have their lovable aspects, we're at the point where it's their time. It's their time.
It really is.
We're seeing excellent games. We're starting to see the cream of the crop left here. If Armageddon not now, I can't imagine it gets 1 place higher. So if you have a favorite game and you don't want it to be on the under the gun, just agree to Armageddon and let's move on. That's how this works. Because if you deadlock,
you can't make me.
It could be your next favorite on the list next.
Dude, my favorites are secured. I'm not worried about my favorites. They're gonna make it. I believe in them.
Look, it's not. Look, I understand if it's not here, then it is next. But I do think it should be next, and Deadly Alliance should be here.
Man.
Okay. I can't look at DA and Armageddon and say DA is the better game.
Okay.
I just can't do it.
Hey, that's fine.
I don't enjoy playing Deadly Alliance. I enjoy reading Deadly Alliance. I love reading Deadly Alliance. My favorite game to read. Would not touch the controller if you forced me to.
See, and I didn't really say this much because I didn't want to defend Deadly Alliance too much until I feel like it's actually on the chopping block. But man, Deadly Alliance has one of the softest spots in my heart because that's when like I took my fandom of the series until like up to 11. Like that holds such a special place to me, and I do find it fun to play. So I'll disagree there. When we went back, played them all, I enjoyed it. But regardless, not on the chopping block, so I don't have to defend it too hard right now. But you're a no for Armageddon. I'm a yes. Shad, where are you at?
This far and no farther. Yes, it goes here.
Temp, you've defended it up until now. Do you feel like this is a good spot for it?
No, not at all. No.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm just gonna go and pee angrily. I need to do that for 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Well, that deadlocks it. So then I'm not putting Deadly Alliance on this. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be the one, and I will defend it. So I will go down a 1 versus 3 scenario. That is perfectly fine. I will be outvoted. I can only do so much.
It's going to come down to Razor then, because I'm not relenting.
He's with you. It's Shad's the one that's up in the air. I don't know that we know how he feels about Deadly Alliance, but.
Well, then you should ask yourself who can stop this Deadly Alliance.
I'm telling you, what the fuck? Deadly Alliance is amazing, man. I love.
Me and Razor are planting our flags. I don't know what to tell you, man.
All right, well, I got to pick next. So if I'm picking next out of all these, and I cannot, if Armageddon's been outvoted, so that's right now off the list for me. Whew. Fuck. Then it's between 2 then. It's between 2. It's honestly for me it's between MK4 and MKX at that point. So I will I'm going to nominate God, see, that's really tough because there are so many aspects I love about each of them, and there's still the blatant flaws. And one flaw that I share between them: rosters. I don't love either one, but I do enjoy. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go Mortal Kombat X. Razor. It is.
It's a no so soft that if we deadlock again, I'm willing to change my mind.
Okay.
What are we at now?
Okay, so to catch you up to speed, I put Armageddon up and it got deadlocked, as you know. And then I was struggling because then it comes down to me between if I can't get Armageddon out, then it comes down to between MK4 and MKX. Because I love Deadly Alliance. And I don't know where you stand on that, Shad, but those two, I think, wanted to go next. I disagree with that, so I put up MKX. Razor did the slightest disagreement with it, so he's a very, very soft no.
I am perfectly content placing MKX here. I will assent. I had it lower, if you recall. I don't think either Armageddon or MKX need to be much higher than they are right now. I'm starting to think that they're getting away with too much.
I agree with you on Armageddon, but we are alone in that. Like they said, we're gonna have a hard time stopping this Deadly Alliance, as Temp so adequately put it. So okay, so then you're yes, Temp, MKX here.
I'm gonna say no on MKX.
What the fuck? Like you hated this game afterwards. You loved it for like 2 weeks, and then you hated this game.
You did spend a lot of time saying you hated it.
But I also said,
I said I'll change my vote if it'll get.
Because you know what's next on the chopping block, so you should have voted yes. You screwed yourself on MK4.
I mean, I gotta be. If I'm lying, I'm dying, man. Like that's the best version of Reptile. That is the most fun and well-designed version we've ever seen for our lizard friend. And so many more. Like that's my favorite version of Sub-Zero. That's my favorite version of Raiden. Melina, even Ethereal Melina is Melina to me. So, yeah, I gotta be honest.
Man, you are passionate about a game you can't stand.
I'm passionate about a lot of games I can't stand. This is one of them. This is one of a few.
All right, I don't know if Razor's allowed to change his vote. I don't know. We didn't really establish that. But
you know what's funny? I wouldn't change my vote if they hadn't have nerfed Tanya.
Yeah, that's controversial.
I am just so amazed by how much gameplay and playability are proving factors for you when deciding these things, man.
So
well, yeah, it's about the fun, you know. It's what is fun to do. Most of these games are not fun for other people because they're thinking of the 2-player, and I played those games 1-player and had a blast. The only games where the 2-player felt great to me are 9 and X.
I mean, I play single-player Mortal Kombat literally all the time. And in comparison to other fighting games, it's fun in the way that watching a slow-motion train wreck or a burning dumpster fire is fun when you're dealing with the AI sometimes. Just saying.
So
Did you think that you'd be more of a gameplay guy?
Just so I'm understanding this, Razor, I'm guessing you're flipping your vote?
I will flip my vote if we can move the fuck on.
Okay, because yeah, you knew what was coming under the gun next.
Yeah, we are getting stuck.
Mortal Kombat X officially goes through then. All right.
Rip and piss.
I mean, I still think it's really fun. That hurts me to do, but like we're at the elite stage almost. I think two more need to go before we're at the elite of the elite. But okay, that was mine. Razor, you're up.
Okay. I'm gonna say Deadly Alliance.
You son of a bitch.
We gotta get some of this stuff out of the way. What we have is like a bunch that are basically a tie.
Chad, this is what happens in these lists. Okay, this is them teaming up right now. This is what they're doing. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. They're doing the Deadly Alliance thing. I need you to vote with me here and keep Deadly Alliance around, and then we know what must go next. I could give you 4 hints at what should go next. Well, Armageddon, but they're not going to fucking...
Deadly Alliance and 4, and we are talking about gameplay here.
Or Armageddon.
Ah, Christ.
But they're not going to move on Armageddon is the problem. I think we could get Temp on 4 is the guarantee there.
Two special moves, Shad. Only 2. The whole roster.
A story, Razor. A story that revitalized the entire franchise.
Yeah, but
that brought it back from the brink of death.
The story and the aesthetics. The story and the aesthetics. It just like felt like Mortal Kombat was fucking amazing. Like complete.
It was back from the dead.
Yes.
No, I can't put Deadly Alliance here. Armageddon has to go.
Thank you. It has to be for Armageddon. Make your choice. Okay, so that's Shad's a no. Temp.
Just to make an additional case, to me, everything good about Deadly Alliance finds completion in Deception.
Yeah,
Deception
that's where I'm at too. Whenever I think of the story beats and things that I like in DA, they continued into Deception and got better. So I think of Deception when I think of them.
Everything else I like about Deadly Alliance is in a YouTube video, right? Like, if I want the Deadly Alliance experience, I play Armageddon.
They're two sides of a coin. They're like, it's what's a movie I'm thinking of here? It's like watching The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, parts 1 and 2.
Well, let me ask you this: if you were asked which is the better Lord of the Rings movie, Two Towers or Return of the King? Because Deadly Alliance is basically Two Towers. I mean, extended for both.
Yeah, it's the Two Towers, but I mean that's.
We're not arguing.
It's just the Two Towers in terms of thematics. It's like Fellowship.
Don't let him manipulate you. What's happening here?
I shall not.
No, first I'll tell you what's not happening here. We're not arguing Deception versus Deadly Alliance. We're not saying Deadly Alliance is better than Deception, and that's what he's trying to fool you into. We're not saying
he's not succeeding. No, fuck Armageddon. It gets off the train. It gets off right now.
Okay, so
I am the train.
Okay, so recap here. He chose Deadly Alliance. You said no. Temp says obviously yes, right? Like that's very clear. And I'm gonna say no. No on Deadly Alliance. It needs to be a little higher.
Deadlock, and I pick again.
I'm not saying it's the best Mortal Kombat game or even top 3, but it needs to be higher than this.
All right.
Kevin Belf is right. Deadly Alliance gave us Zeberon.
Well, not just that, Temp. Deadly Alliance gave us Lee May. And Lee May was not better in Deception than she was in Deadly Alliance.
Yes,
Think about where she went in Deception. She fucked Onaga, and all she got was that lousy t-shirt, Temp.
That's what me and Temp like.
She's a tragic character. She was sort of like the spiritual successor of Smoke's MK3 story in a way.
Deadly Alliance Lee May is just MK2 Smoke. The boring part of Smoke.
I will slap that.
And she does play better. She plays much better in Deception. Like her Deception makes so much more sense.
We're not arguing Deception versus Deadly Alliance.
In Deadly Alliance.
Hold on now. All right. Well,
I think her costumes are way better in Deception too. Like her visuals are much stronger.
I would agree with that.
But anyways, Razor, your pick next.
Okay.
You know it's time.
I understand what you want me to say. I'm not going to say it. MK4. We'll put MK4 here.
It's a good spot for it, I think. 8's a pretty damn good spot for 4. It's Shad. It's your vote.
I will allow it. It has gone on long enough with the nonsense that it has pulled. It is unplayable and janky. It is a lesser ultimate in terms of its gameplay. If you can tell me what Reiko does during the story of MK4, I will give you cash money. It is just...
He walks through a portal and puts on Khan's helmet.
Does he, though? Do we know that?
No, we don't. Well, we know that he walks through a portal.
Maybe.
Pretty good odds. Most
people walk through a portal at some point in this franchise. Sure, if you take the original first half of that from the arcade, because they only added like the Shao Kahn stuff later on. Yeah, sure. That's totally canon. Totally.
He definitely walks through a portal at some point for some reason.
Yes. Fine. MK4 goes here.
Temp?
That'll be yes on MK4.
Okay. All right.
We have made progress. Look at us go.
Unanimous vote. Mortal Kombat 4. Up to number 7 now. And Ishad, it is your turn.
There is a map. On that map shows a man's journey. And that man is Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Thank God, please.
And
This has to be the time. If not now, when?
That line stops in the middle of the desert and it falls down. And it says, he went this far and no farther.
Well, can I just say one little thing? Deadly Alliance didn't have an adventure mode where you do combos and, you know, run around and do a beat 'em up.
But it had sick lore
No, but
in the
Deadly
text.
Alliance did have a tutorial mode which told us half of how MK3 finished.
Yes.
It even gave Chameleon a name drop.
Yeah,
It was closure for so much. It's like, hey, there's Ermac. That's what happened to Ermac. He met this Kenshi dude. The MKDA gave us Kenshi.
Yeah, the best crit, too.
I didn't forget. It gave us Bo Raicho.
Well, technically, Armageddon did have like 20 bios on the website. That Vogel wrote.
Oh my god.
The chat is livid that Armageddon has lasted this long. You cannot keep this up. It's number 7, for God's sake.
I like Armageddon. Look, every time...
And 7 is respectable. 7
Can I
is
just
amazing. Look at the games it is above right now. Vanilla 3, X4,
every time
the original.
Every time Ermacker puts out one of his ultimate MK Deception videos where he's added a new character, I always say, I wish he was working on Armageddon instead. There are so many like retro stages that are in Deception that could be ported to Armageddon. I wish he would do that. And he's not gonna. I know he prefers working in Deception, but that's how I feel. I like Armageddon.
Okay.
Armageddon has all the content.
So Shad, you put it up to vote. Temp, are you okay with Armageddon now? Number 7.
No.
What if this here? I will make you a deal. I will make you a deal.
Okay, hold on. Let me make some additional cases because it sounds like y'all need some more convincing.
No. Hold on.
If you take the tower stage from Armageddon,
son of a bitch. I will propose
Armageddon
a
has
deal.
the tower.
We have to move forward. So here's the deal. Armageddon 7.
Is Khan's Arena.
Armageddon 7. And then you can propose Deadly Alliance at 6,
Armageddon
and
has
you'll
the
have my
armory.
support.
Armageddon has the Firewell from 4. It brought an MK4 stage back.
Armageddon has
its version of Khan's Arena is this weird mishmash of stuff where there's death traps everywhere that were never there before.
It's not great, but it's there.
The fucking music isn't even good. It's weird.
You know.
I was going to add that the tower stage by itself is better than every stage in Deadly Alliance.
Just stop.
And it's better by a lot.
Oh my god.
The hate is unchecked. Here, this is the
I
deal.
didn't want to say, like, there are great stages in Deadly Alliance. Like, I love the Lunghai Temple. I mean, the drum arena is pretty boring.
House of Picara, man. That music is incredible.
Yes.
I like that it's hailing in the House of Picara.
The fattest version of Blaze.
Cyrax is sick in Armageddon. I mean, not Armageddon. Now you got me brainwashed. What is happening here? Some Jedi mind trick shit.
Prefer Fat Blaze to Skinny Blaze. I'm
a big fan of Fat Blaze. Yes.
Listen, the path forward here, we all know it's
Astaroth on fire.
Listen. The path forward
Deadly Alliance plays with Cinder.
The path forward here is 7 Armageddon, 6 Deadly Alliance. That's the compromise. 7 Armageddon, and it lasted way longer than it should have, let's be honest. And then 6 Deadly Alliance is a perfect spot. That's our path forward.
I don't know if you get what you want, me and Temp don't, is a compromise.
You keep saying, let's be honest. I'm being honest. I don't know how to
Okay, we'll keep deadlocking it, but then
you're saying Armageddon, Deadly Alliance. We're saying Deadly Alliance, Armageddon. Okay. It's not that big a difference.
We know what 7 and 8 are. We just have to figure out an order.
Okay, no, here's what happens, though. Here's realistically what happens. If we're both deadlocked on Armageddon and Deadly Alliance and not willing to budge, then you need to nominate a different game. You look at the rest of that list and decide what's going to be number 7 other than Armageddon and Deadly Alliance, because that's what you're asking.
I'm willing to put UMK3 here.
Oh my god, no.
Oh, hell no.
All right, so just for clarity, Armageddon fails, right? Because Temp's voting no, I'm voting yes, and Razor, you're a no. So let's just keep playing it out. So we're deadlocked. So Shad, you get to choose again. Sorry that it has to be you, because I don't fucking know.
God, Jesus. I think this is really going to be the point where, like, we can't fucking agree on things. Because none of us are going to put Deception down here. None of us are going to put Shaolin Monks down here.
Maybe.
We're sure as shit not putting MK2 or 9 down here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are the top 4. I don't...
Yeah, like... What else have we got at this point, you know?
The only ones left are Deadly Alliance, Armageddon, and UMK3.
How about this? Since we are deadlocked
it is not going to be UMK3.
How about we put a poll in the chat and let the chat decide? We do a minute poll. Let anybody that's paying attention and watching
vote in the poll. It sounds an awful lot like the chat wants Armageddon to go here.
So then why don't we let them be the tiebreaker. That's how you settle things and move on.
All right.
The chat is the tiebreaker.
Is that fair? Are we okay with that? I'll put up a poll.
Of course the anti-Armageddon people would think that. I'm joking. The chat's fine.
All right. I'm starting a poll. Which game should go next and be number 7? Vote for the one that you want to go next. Armageddon or Deadly Alliance.
The chat is now asking me to rank 9 Inch Nails albums instead of all of this. So, let's see. Downward Spiral, obviously number 1. Close second.
Did you know that Armageddon lets you make Scarlet?
I did know this, and I made one.
All right, the poll started. Make sure you understand what you're voting for. Which game should go next? So this is number 7. You are voting on number 7. The winner goes to number 7. It's about as fair as it's going to get, because I don't think there's any budging happening right now.
15 votes in.
And
are we allowed to vote this poll, or is it just the chat?
I'm letting just the chat. Yeah.
Okay. I already voted.
You saw.
Mother.
Well, now I have to open YouTube.
Well, now I have to vote to counterbalance Temp's vote.
I think all 4 of us have to vote.
I don't think I can
vote. To be fair, I voted wrong because I thought it was like, which game do you like more? I clicked Armageddon.
I don't know how I could have explained it any clearer. I was so deliberate to just.
No, it's purely a me thing. I saw Armageddon and I'm like, oh, and I clicked it.
It's just always click Armageddon.
Yeah.
Armageddon is yes. Wait, no. No.
All right, closing the vote in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 69%. Armageddon, Deadly Alliance, 31%. 26 votes.
We got 31%.
All right. So the agreement is Mortal Kombat, Armageddon here.
Oh,
I think it's better than DI.
This guy said UMK3.
Bitch as if.
I may have been trolling.
Armageddon. I saw that E.
All right, and then Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
You debate between Armageddon and Deadly Alliance. Nobody bats an eye. You say UMK3 and everybody loses their minds.
Okay, so Temp, it is your pick next. Well, technically, yours would have been Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Yeah.
So I'll go next. And I mean, this is rough.
And our next round of deadlocking begins.
If it deadlocks, we will pause. We will definitely end it here. But if we can find a way forward in the next 30 minutes, I think, or through these in the next 30 minutes, we'll be okay. We got to get through them. So
people in the chat being all like 2 and 3 need to go.
So we have 2, we have 3, we have 9, we have Shaolin Monks, and we have Deception. I'm going to say this is where Shaolin Monks should go. Number 5. That feels pretty dang fair. Top 5. Shaolin Monks is amazing, don't get me wrong. But number 5 is where it's at. So that's my vote.
I'm going to say no, because Shaolin Monks is my number 1.
Okay.
Did you even lore?
Look.
Are you asking me or him?
We need to have a serious talk about the fact that Mortal Kombat works better as anything that's not a fighting game than it does as a fighting game. In spite of Shaolin Monks having an absolutely ass story. Like, if we were voting just story, it should be down with Onslaught. But in terms of genre, MK needs to be beat 'em ups and RPGs and other fucking things. I'm tired of the fighting games.
I don't disagree with your logic.
Yeah, it sounds. I would like them.
Also, it's the best beat 'em up ever made. It's Devil May Cry with 2 players. Come on.
It's no Double Dragon, but it's up there.
Double Dragon's pretty sick.
It's also no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Also sick.
All right.
Double Dragon meets Battletoads. Also sick.
I am going to say yes. I think, as a matter of fact, I had Shaolin Monks as my number 5 on my list. I agree.
5 is an amazing spot. It
is absolutely up there in terms of aesthetics. It is the best visual representation of Outworld. It is a blast to play. The fatalities are amazing. I just wish that the story didn't make me feel like someone had to ask me if I was okay. That's what it does to me. It puts a blade through my head, lights me on fire, throws me along the ground, and I bounce. It's a fun bounce. It's a great bounce.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Are in the final analysis, are any of us really okay?
All right.
It is. I can't, in good conscience, put it above the rest of what we have to deal with. Because it's flawed.
I mean, we're talking. This is the GOAT conversation, right? Like, that's what top 5 is. It's going to be everyone's personal favorites duking it out. So I get it. But that's where majority comes in. Temp, where are you at? 5 for Shaolin Monks?
I'm going to say yes. I haven't played Shaolin Monks in about 18 years. I think longer than that, actually. I like the game. I think it's a really good game. I'm not a big beat 'em up guy. I don't know what to tell you. Also, like, the story changes I don't love. But enough time has passed where I'm over it. But yeah, I think 5 is a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing game. There ain't no shame. Number 5. Well, Razor, you're up next.
Okay. I mean, this is really, really close, these last 4. But I think UMK3 is what I'd put forth.
Yeah, this is tricky. This is absolutely tricky. Okay. Shed?
I will say a soft no to UMK3. We are getting into very sensitive territory here. UMK3 is up there for me. We're coming up to a point where at the final analysis, I can't in good conscience place what's left. That being MK9 above either 2 or UMK3. It's close. It's really close. This is like hair's breadth stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the sins of 9 are just so grievous, I have trouble putting it up any higher than I already am. That's the problem with 9. Its sins are grievous, but its achievements are magnificent. Truly magnificent.
Yeah, see, here's the thing that sort of sticks in my craw, is that in terms of story, terrible. Fucking terrible. Kind of ruined the entire franchise.
Right.
But if I was going to pick any one single Mortal Kombat game to get together with friends and play, it would be 9.
Interesting.
I'd be tempted to agree, and I do to a certain, but my answer to that question is probably UMK3. It is my number one game up there in terms of playability.
And I know that you in particular sort of go back and play the arcade era games the most.
I do.
I feel like if I was trying to pick out a party game, like something equivalent to Smash Brothers or Mario Kart that I'd play with like a group of friends, I think 9's modernity would sort of go further. And also it has tag. So you
It
can
does
get 4
have tag.
players in there.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have a no from Shad on UMK3. Temp?
Yeah, I'll say no. UMK3 has a lot going for it. It's never quite been my cup of tea, honestly, competitively. I am partial to a few other MK games, but it's a very good game. Competitively, it's got some of the best design decisions in it. I think Run was a huge plus to that game. And I like the way Run works better in UMK3 much more than I do MKX. Well, but then again, there's the cancels, so it gets kind of complicated. But yeah, I'm gonna say soft no.
Okay. Well, best I can do is deadlock it, but I'm actually a no as well. Out of all the classic arcade games, UMK3 is actually my favorite. So I think it's like a top 3. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean like I said, these last 4 are so close that there's no salt, whatever.
Splitting hairs here.
Sure. All right. Who's next? Is it Shad? I think Shad, yeah.
I believe so.
This is where I will submit Mortal Kombat 9 for the people's approval.
Temp?
It is just...
go ahead.
It was it is both the period of time where I understood that MK was kind of starting to move past me, starting to make a little bit old with that fucking dubstep Skrillex album that got mentioned in the chat. But it was the beginning for like a totally new generation of players, and I'm really eminently grateful that it kept the name alive, you know? I feel like I've seen this franchise nearly die twice, and it is such a blast to play that game, and it is a lot of fun to mod it and put my favorite costumes back in, too. And it's got the challenge tower, it's got so many great things going for it. It's got the best crypt for my money. That damn jump scare. It fully fleshed out and realized smoke for the first time ever. If the story weren't batshit terrible, insane, and had it not left the legacy of what it did on this franchise, if not for all that stupid cyber sub crap. I want it to be number 1 because objectively it is the best playing Mortal Kombat game. I can't say no to that. I can never ever put it on a higher list than MK2 or UMK3. I just can't do it. For all of its sins, for everything, for all the years it pissed me off. I still love it. It's still a great game. It's magnificent. But I think this is where it belongs.
Temp?
I mean, I traveled the country to play MK9, so I can't. I gotta say no. I love that game with all. No, I on the story stuff, I agree 100%. To this day, like, there's a lot of stuff in that game that still bothers me. Not all of them, but a lot of the designs are just really bad. But I do think there's a lot of good designs as well. I still like MK9 Melina quite a bit. I like Human Smoke's look in that game. I like the hair. And just competitively, the mid-range meta is so well done, even if the game has a ton of bugs, right? And that's going to come. We're going to talk more about that later, but yeah, I have to say no.
Yeah, this is tough. This is so tough, as Razor put it. I mean, this is really difficult to pick between these. I could see. I mean, you could make an argument for any of these being number 1, honestly. But for me, Mortal Kombat 9, I'm going to say no as well. I don't know where it goes. I don't know that it has to be number 1 or anything like that, but for some reason I think it's not yet. So, soft no, I would say. Razor, just for posterity.
Well, I mean, the best I can do is deadlock it, and then Chub gets to pick again, but
well, I mean, it's up to you.
I don't know, because there is again, you can argue either way. It does have the best gameplay of all the games. On the other hand, it's like saying a cover band is better than the original. Because everything that's in 9 is just, redone stuff from 1 through 3. And Quan Chi. And in some places, it's like the guitarist is playing better, but the drummer kept dropping the beat.
Would you really put J.J. Abrams' Star Trek over the original Star Trek?
No.
I think not. I think not, sir.
Well, so are you officially a no or a yes, just for posterity's sake? Would you put it here at number 4, given all the options?
I'm inclined to say yes, actually.
Okay, so then that would deadlock it, so it does allow Shad to pick again. So that is the important difference maker there. Is there any other of the 3 that you would vote for that spot? And if it just keeps deadlocking,
call me insane, but remember, we're splitting hairs.
Sure.
But I would consider putting Deception here instead.
Okay. Is that your official nomination?
Yes, it is. Because Deception is not without its own share of problems.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, does it ever do so much right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, like the feeling of exploring Outworld, holy God. I mean, obviously I wish that the actual plot, Shujinko's plot, made a bit more sense. Didn't give us the best new characters in the world. That's probably its most grievous crime, I think. But holy God, it's never a blast to play. Finding Noob Smoke and all the secret unlockables and stuff that was so buried so deep into Conquest.
Yeah.
I'm okay with putting it here.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with number 4. Temp?
Well, Deception is my number 1, so I gotta say no.
God damn it.
It is the Mortal Kombat game to me. It is the reason why I still follow the game to this day. Deception was a life-changing event for me, so I gotta say no.
Okay, well, I was gonna say yes, but it's like I said, Deception could be any one of these, and I would be happy. I'm not gonna walk away feeling like, man, that doesn't make sense. Like if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I'll say yes, just because something's got to give. So we've got 2 yeses and 1 no. What do you got, Razor?
I mean, I'm with Temp, which deadlocks us again, and I think that's going to keep happening for every game.
Well, let me ask you this. So is there any argument, because is there any argument here for Mortal Kombat 2? Because I feel like that's the only one we haven't really discussed. Is there any argument for Mortal Kombat 2, as amazing as it is, obviously,
I mean,
to be number 4?
I think 2 deserves to be higher. See, I think 3 and 4 should be like 9 and Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 1 and 2 should be Deception and MK2. And those can be flipped. But yeah, I think we're cutting it into 2 chunks, and the first chunk is which is better, 9 or Ultimate, and the second chunk is which is better, 2 or Deception.
Right.
That's where my head's at.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on there. So, would you prefer Mortal Kombat 2 over Deception? These are the questions we got to start asking to kind of, because we got to right now basically do what we got to do to figure out 4 and 3, and then then we just kind of slot in 1 and 2 pretty. I feel like that might be a little bit easier when we get down to those last 2 games.
I think I like Deception more than 2.
Shad, between Deception and 2, well, I guess you nominated Deception, so I would imagine 2 feels pretty sacred to you.
It's so close to being my desert island game, man. You got no idea. I think I'm going to have to, I don't know, maybe make a slight concession here and say I'll be okay with letting 2 go at number 4 spot, but it feels wrong. It feels really wrong.
I feel like we're going to run into that a bit with just about any of these to some degree, but I feel you. Temp, just for argument's sake, would you be okay with 2 at number 4?
I think 4 is a good spot. I love MK2, especially aesthetically. I think even competitively, I think MK2 is kind of underrated. But I think 4 is a really good spot for it. Because if we're going category to category, 3 is going to beat MK2 in terms of gameplay. It's not really competitive. And in terms of just like roster and like just available options in general, I'd even say story. I'm going to say UMK3 beats 2 pretty decisively.
Well, we don't need to open up that can of worms. That's already
man. Give us Outworld. It gave us Smoke. It gave us Kentaro.
Yeah, like I feel like
Shao Kahn. Its importance can't be understated.
I don't like 2 is the one with all the best stages. It's like aesthetically, it's the Outworld game, and Outworld is way more interesting than Empty New York. But it is what it is.
Okay.
Can we put UMK3 here?
If you would prefer UMK3 at 4, who else feels that way? Let's argue then between UMK3 and MK2. If we had to select one of those at number 4, what would you choose?
I'm good with UMK3 at number 4.
Easily.
Temp?
No, not at all. I much prefer you. Well, just the roster speaks for itself, right? Like, if I have a choice between MK2 Reptile and UMK3 Reptile, like it's no brainer. UMK3 Jax versus UMK2. Again, it's a no brainer. It's not even a question.
The hell is UMK2?
Oh my god, that's right. Well, I mean, it does technically exist. It's not real.
I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Yeah, no, it's so just UMK3 has a better version of most of those characters. And the game is better. Like, I can't run in UMK2. I'm doing it again. Fuck. Letters. In MK2, like, it's just functionally not as good of a game, in my opinion.
It's tough. I mean, I'm torn myself because through all these years, I'm more of a UMK3 than an MK2 guy, as much as I love both of them. I lean more UMK3. If I'm going to go back and play one, I typically have more fun playing UMK3. If I'm looking at the roster, I typically have more enjoyment with the UMK3 roster.
I don't think gameplay in terms of the Mortal Kombat series should ever be taken as the number one consideration. Every single game is jank or broken to some freaking degree. There's not a single game that I would call balanced. It's worth considering, but it shouldn't be the end-all be-all, you know?
But even on that note, though, I'm not giving up Nightwolf, Sindel, the Cyborgs, or even like the Ball. Like, I'm not giving those guys up. Like, what's up?
So thank you for not giving up on me or my alter self.
Yeah, I like the Cyborgs, but I feel like some of those characters deduct points.
Right. Okay. I'm still a big Sindel fan to this day, so.
All right, so just
to be wrong.
Just as trying to keep the water moving here. Do we want? If you have, okay, let's just do it this way, because I think our format at this point it starts to get a little shoddy, because now we're down to the point where we're just might reach a lot of deadlocks. For number 4, if you had one vote, what are you picking, Razor? If you had one vote for number 4, what game do you put there? Because this is kind of how we're going to have
MK9 here.
Okay, because I think this is kind of how we're going to be able to move forward. If you had one vote, Shad, what do you put at number 4?
Absolutely MK9.
Temp, you have one vote, number 4.
Hold up.
your choices?
MK2.
EXE is loading.
I love MK2, but I have to say MK2.
Okay. So you have MK2. Those two have MK9. I was waffling between MK2 and MK9. Now I'm going to ask you the second question, and this is going to kind of slot all these into place. So let me put this actually in our chat so I remember what people picked. So we've got 2 votes MK9 for 4, and we'll just say, for argument's sake, 2 votes for MK2. Now, if you personally, Razor, with what's left, what would you put number 1?
I would put Deception at number 1.
Okay, Shad, one vote, what would you put at number 1?
Mortal Kombat 2.
Interesting. Okay, Deception, MK2. Temp, one vote, what are you putting at number 1?
Deception.
Whew. Okay. I was between UMK3 and Deception. So finding the common denominators here, Deception absolutely should not go number 4, right? And let me put this in the chat.
Agreed.
UMK3/Deception. MK2/MK9. All right, put it in the chat. So it's looking like, to me, we've got number 4. I think Mortal Kombat 9 makes sense. Are we okay with that? I know, Temp, that's not what you would choose, but just breaking this down.
It's definitely not my choice, but democracy, right?
Yeah,
so
just breaking it down. This is
Just
how
think
we're going
of
to...
Cyber Sub-Zero wearing a Freddy Krueger hat, and it becomes easier to choke down.
Or while beating up Kintaro.
Yes.
Crypt Screamer.
No, I poured thousands of hours into that game. I could never turn my back on MK9, though.
So we've got Mortal Kombat 9 at number 4. Well, hold on a second, actually. I noticed nobody picked... Okay, so for number 1, nobody picked MK9, and nobody picked... Technically, nobody picked UMK3. I was waffling back between that and Deception. So those are that's one that got no picks for number 1. So those definitely don't belong in there. MK9 doesn't belong in number 1. Neither does UMK3. So we know that should be like 4 and 3, right? So
that's where I'd put them.
So does that look like this then?
Yep.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And then number 2 would be Mortal Kombat 2. Well, hold on.
I mean, that's where my head's at.
Wait, hold on. That actually doesn't line up, because technically Temp voted Mortal Kombat 2 for number 4, and I was waffling back between that. So I think MK2 goes to 3. So just walk with me for a second, as they say. This isn't official. So we have Mortal Kombat 9, then Mortal Kombat 2, then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and then Mortal Kombat Deception. Does that look good to you? So 4 is Mortal Kombat 9, 3 is Mortal Kombat 2, 2 is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, number 1 is Mortal Kombat Deception. Any strong disagreements with, like, where you're going to argue tooth and nail that one of those, or like 2 of those, should be swapped before we lock in?
I mean, I personally think 2 is better than Ultimate, but not so much that we need to argue about it.
And I think
likewise, it's, in terms of gameplay, Ultimate is the contender. It's easily better than 2. Absolutely. I rank 2 so highly because of the legacy that it left behind. It's responsible. It's the template. It's everything for how much it gave us.
Yeah. When we talk about like what elements should be in a Mortal Kombat game, almost all of them were first introduced in 2.
That's not too far off from where I am with Deception. Like, if you ask me, like, what do you want to see in the next MK game? I look straight to Deception. I'm like, okay, what do we want to pull from? To me, that is like the gold standard of what makes good Mortal Kombat sequels. Is to what extent does it draw from Deception? It is sort of like it is the essence of like complete perfected MK to me.
Do we feel like maybe Deception at number 1 is giving it too much credit as the best of all time? Or do you feel like it is the quintessential Mortal Kombat even with its flaws?
No, not at all, honestly. I think Deception is just aesthetically defines Mortal Kombat, even more so than MK2.
I'm loving all the comments in the chat right now, but we're doing something right because we're getting a lot of trash and yada yada yada. But that's what this list is supposed to elicit, right? Like,
well, when you open your opinions up to the public, you're going to get a lot of people who are like actual fans of the current NRS games.
Sure. No, I like I said, that I bring it on, keep it coming. Like this is supposed to elicit.
Somebody in there said 12 should be higher, and that person would never be friends with me in real life. That's what I've learned from that.
If any of them that are saying that get together with 3 other people that are diverse, right? Of different ages and different times throughout the series and so on and so forth, and they try and compromise on a list. Let's see how their list turns out.
Here's the thing of it, is that Mortal Kombat 2 is obviously like I said just moments ago, responsible for creating most of the things we think about when we think about Mortal Kombat. But on some level, that's also like origin story stuff. And then there's like another era where it's like, where do you want to see these characters end up? And it's like, do you want to see Krypton blow up over and over again? Do you want to see Martha Wayne's pearls scatter across the blacktop over and over again? Or do you want to move the fuck on and see Batman training some Robins, you know?
Yeah.
And I want to see the later era. I want to see my Sub-Zero is an old man who runs he's the Grandmaster, and he's got the dragon medallion, and he's got the Cryomancer armor, and I want to see the characters evolved. I want to see their continuity have happened and mattered. I don't always want to go back to the tournament, you know?
Sure.
Deception is also all these MK2 characters realized. If you want to play Noob Saibot as he is in substance, you have to play Deception. You can't play MK2 for that.
Well, I don't know if I'd agree with that, because Deception, especially for like Noob and Smoke, there's a lot of like compromises in their move set where MK9 is the actual Noob Saibot, you know?
Oh, of course, but story-wise,
like he doesn't have the ghost ball in Deception. He doesn't have the clone throw in Deception. He doesn't.
MK9 is very much like
really get any of his moves back.
Let me ask you MK3, which is why I hold it so.
Let me ask you
I hold it very high regard where gameplay is concerned, but gameplay is just not the predominant factor in my eyes. When it comes to
Noob Saibot has a design in Deception. Like Noob Saibot actually has like a true costume. Like this is actually how he is artistically manifesting in the story, as opposed to a palette swap we have in one of the original games.
Yeah, but there's also the jank of like which one is supposed to be the primary, because I hate seeing him with human colored skin.
But we all know it's the other one. We all know the alternate is the true Noob Saibot. Like that's the one in in the ending.
Just going back to this, just so we can kind of finalize and cement these things, is there any arguments for this final alignment? Do we feel like 2 should swap with 3? I know there's kind of split nature on that, but is there any arguments for why 2 should go above 3? Maybe like impact of the franchise, so on and so forth.
I mean, there's impact. There's also aesthetics. Like Ultimate is still an MK3 game, which means it's mostly New York City and spandex pants.
The only reason MK3 over 2 is for gameplay. There's no other reason.
Yeah, that's the only
No,
thing it
not
has
at
over
all.
2.
Again, I'm going to say it again. I am not putting Nightwolf on the altar. I'm not putting Cabal on the altar. I'm not putting the Cyborgs on the altar. I'm keeping all those characters unless I absolutely have to give them up, which, again, democracy. But no, I don't agree with that at
I mean,
all.
here's
It's
the
not just
thing
gameplay.
is, the reason I got 4 so high on this list is because it doesn't have MK3 characters.
Yeah, I'm aware.
When I think of the arcade games, it's 2 and 4 at the top because they don't have fucking Nightwolf, Striker, and Cabal.
You need more.
I think I'm just going to
life.
respectfully bow out of further discussion because it was up to me. 2 would be number 1. Deception would be number 3. That's where I'd stand things.
Sure.
I'm just happy that
personal ways of doing
Mortal
it.
Kombat Armageddon put up this Mayweather fight that I never thought I'd be able to do. So I'm going to take that from you.
Okay. Well, anyways, wrapping this up.
Mythologies got robbed.
This was a fun exercise. Hopefully you guys had fun. And whether you agree or disagree with the final results, for those in the chat or listening, and I would love if anybody would leave a comment of what they would rank these. But just keep in mind, personal lists are going to look differently than group lists. That's just that's the fun of the exercise. It's for everybody's entertainment. So
yeah, again, I think Shaolin Monk should have been first.
Sure. But anyways, have fun, everybody.
Beat-em-ups are better than fighting games. I'm not going to bend on that.
And thanks for the super chat, Ninja Warrior.
We talk about story and stuff, and like so much of that is handicapped specifically because it has to fit into a fighting game. Mortal Kombat is a franchise that is held back by the genre it exists in. That's how I feel.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up because Temp's got to get the hell out of here in like 2 minutes. So I do want to thank you. Yeah, I do want to thank you, Ninja Warrior, for the $25 super chat. Don't worry about what others are saying about the games that aren't in the top 4. I trust your guys' judgment. Look, when I watch the Yo Video Games, appreciate it greatly. When I watch the Yo Video Games guys put together their lists and they're leaving off games that I'd put on, that's just the nature of the beast of top 10 lists. It's impossible to do these without bias, first of all, because by their very nature, lists are biased based on what you prefer and what you put weight into, right? Personally. But then when you add 3 other people on top of it, none of our 4 lists would look exactly like this. And that's the entire point of why we did it this way, because it's entertaining to hear our debating, our arguing, our disagreements, our agreements. And that is hopefully entertaining to you. So hopefully you took the right message from this and don't take this too seriously. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
We're all Mortal Kombat fans here. There is no right or wrong answer as to what your best or what your favorite Mortal Kombat game is. Unless it's 12.
Unless it's 12, yeah. That's objectively wrong. That's not a Mortal Kombat game. They should have named it Dragon Attack. It doesn't even... The Mortal Kombat tournament does not exist in that universe.
Temp, what are you saying?
We did this list because we wouldn't agree. That's why we did the list.
Absolutely.
Because we would not have the same conclusions.
And if you guys had fun, please let us know in the comments that you enjoyed this. Leave a thumbs up. Let us know that you want to see us do something like this again. There are plenty of other things we could do this format with. Maybe it's the characters doing it like this could be a little bit fun and different, or the stages. There's various other ways we could kind of take the same format of the fun, because I think historically, as Temp has said when we've talked in private, it's when we disagree on things is when things are most interesting. And I happen to agree. It's a lot of fun.
I think that we really need to do some like stage discussion or like music discussion. Probably stage discussion, because I don't know. I think I'm probably the only person who cares about the music. But like, you've been saying forever and ever, like we devote time to stages, and like the presentation and atmosphere at MK is. No matter who you are, you have to acknowledge that's important. It's hugely important. And man, am I ever overdue for some pit discussion.
And if anyone listening is upset about Armageddon, I'll see you in the parking lot.
I'm upset about Armageddon. Fuck you.
I'll see you in the parking lot, bitch.
I'll see you, bro. But on that note, take care of everybody. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Take care, everyone.
Have a good night.
See you later, nerds.
And have a nice day.